Before leaving, she didn't forget to curse him as a bad seed. This remark amused him. He remembered the little wife scolding him like this not long ago. It turned out to be just a few days ago. She got lost while handling transfer procedures at the new school. Just as she was hesitating about which way to go, a corgi ran towards her. Ching liked its eyes very much. Little short legs, tell me which way I should go to get to the archives? Just as she finished speaking, a voice came from behind telling her to go left. This startled Ching. She looked back and met the clear gaze of a young boy. At this moment, Ching blushed with embarrassment. Did he see the scene of me talking to the corgi just now? It was so shameful. After she hurriedly thanked the senior, she quickly left the place. The boy looked at the girl's retreating figure and couldn't help but praise. That little short legs runs pretty fast. Meanwhile, on the other side, Ching, who hadn't gone far, was passing a corner when she accidentally bumped into someone. She was just about to apologize, but saw that the group of people looked fierce and were holding weapons. Just when Ching thought she was done for, unexpectedly, the thug just gave her a cold glance and led his men into the alley, saying they must teach that kid from number 1 middle school a lesson. Hearing this, Ching had a bad premonition. They couldn't be going to trouble that senior from just now, right? She only hoped it was her illusion. However, when she peeked into the alley, the group had already surrounded the previous senior. Seeing the senior in danger, Ching had a sudden idea. She ran into the alley, shouting, "Brother." The thugs who were about to make a move were stunned by this sudden voice. Just as they were wondering who this girl's brother was, she directly grabbed Wen Yufeng's arm and smilingly told him to come home for dinner. This scene surprised everyone present. Even Wen Yufeng was a bit taken aback. He didn't understand when he had gained a younger sister. Before he could figure it out, Ching dragged him toward the taxi at the alley entrance. As soon as she got in the car, Ching told the driver to run fast. Before the thugs in the alley could react, the two had already slipped away in the car. Ching watched the thugs behind not chasing them, and finally breathed a sigh of relief. Meanwhile, Wen Yufeng beside her couldn't help snickering. This little white rabbit ran so fast when she saw him before, yet now she dared to risk danger to save him. Really interesting. Ching listened to his laughter, a bit confused, not knowing what he was laughing at. The next second, Wen Yufeng raised the hand she was holding. Ching realized something was wrong and hurriedly let go. Just as she was annoyed at herself for doing such a thing, her best friend's call came through. "Xiaoqing, I heard you transferred to number 1 middle school." "Yes, what's wrong?" Hearing her reply, the best friend seemed a bit excited. "Then can you see that super handsome guy for number 1 middle school?" Hearing this, Ching was obviously a bit confused. "I don't think I've seen him." "Haven't seen him? Good. You'd better stay far away from him. I heard he has had several girlfriends." "All right, don't worry. How could I have any interaction with him?" Seeing Ching say this, the best friend felt relieved and reminded her not to forget the farewell party this afternoon, then hung up the phone. Little did they know that their entire conversation fell into the ears of number 1 middle school's Wen Yufeng. He just curled his lips slightly and didn't speak again, but he had already remembered this cute little girl in his heart. As time passed, Ching soon arrived home. Before leaving, she placed the fare next to Wen Yufeng. "Then I'll go home first, brother. See you if there's a chance." Wen Yufeng looked at her retreating figure, feeling a bit lost in his heart. Did she slip away again? Then he picked up the money on the seat beside him and couldn't help teasing. "This is the first time someone gave me cab fare. I have to keep it safe." At this time, the driver was obviously getting impatient waiting, so he urged Wen Yufeng, asking where to go. Wen Yufeng listened and just replied coldly, "Drive back to where we got on." The driver felt speechless upon hearing this. "So you siblings were teasing me for half the day." In the afternoon, Ching arrived early at the venue to meet her best friend, just as they were preparing to go in for the farewell party. Wen Yufeng was watching them from not far away. He didn't expect to meet that little white rabbit here too. He couldn't help laughing self-mockingly. Sister really is a great prophet. So he also followed Ching inside. But when he wanted to follow up to see what she was doing here, he was pushed aside by a buddy next to him. "Brother our party is about to start." In just the blink of an eye, Ching, who was on the stairs just now, disappeared without a trace. This made Wen Yufeng quite angry, and he immediately gave his buddy a punch. Inside the private room, Wen Yufeng's face remained grim. At this time, someone took the lead, clamoring for him to get together with school beauty Ling, listening to the noisy voices around him. Wen Yufeng glared at them coldly, and the surrounding noise instantly quieted down. The next second, Wen Yufeng walked towards the door. He was just about to go home, but met Ching in the corridor of the private rooms. seeing a boy following her. He was slightly stunned, not understanding what she was doing. Ching, actually I suddenly called you out because I want to tell you something from my heart. I'm afraid if I don't tell you now, there might not be a chance later. At this moment, Ching obviously understood what he was going to say. Just as she was thinking about how to reject him, a light cough interrupted them. Ching looked to the side in confusion and found that the newcomer was actually the senior from the morning. Wen Yufeng looked at her cute appearance and slowly walked up to her. "We meet again, sister." The boy on the side saw someone ruining his good moment and asked Ching angrily who he was. Unexpectedly, as soon as he finished speaking, Wen Yufeng put his arm around Ching and said arrogantly, "I am her brother. Did you eat a bear's heart or a leopard's gall?" Daring to have designs on her. Just like that, the boy left under Wen Yufeng's threat. At this moment, only Wen Yufeng and Ching were left in the corridor. Looking at the dazed little white rabbit, Wen Yufeng couldn't help smiling. "Little rabbit, next time you see me at school, remember to turn around and run." As soon as he finished speaking, he left the place. He thought the two would not cross paths again, but unexpectedly, on this day, Wen Yufeng was called to the office by the homeroom teacher to be scolded and happened to see the girl doing questions seriously in the corner. He didn't expect the little white rabbit he had tried so hard to find actually delivered herself to his door. He didn't say hello to her, but walked straight to the homeroom teacher to be scolded. Instantly, the atmosphere in the office dropped to freezing point. "Why didn't you come to class yesterday? Give me a reasonable excuse, or I'll call your parents." Wen Yufeng just curled his lips slightly upon hearing this, and turned his gaze to Ching, saying, "Teacher, I can't say this reason. I'm afraid if I say it." Hearing this, Ching was very dissatisfied in her heart. He actually said she was a child. Wen Yufeng looked at the angry little white rabbit on the side, feeling very satisfied in his heart, while the homeroom teacher beside him felt like she was about to die of anger. "Is this the attitude you use to speak to a teacher?" Wen Yufeng had long been accustomed to this scene, and just said calmly, "Teacher, since you think my attitude is wrong, then give me an expulsion punishment." Just as the homeroom teacher was planning to contact his parents, she was called out by the suddenly appearing director Sunday. Seeing the teacher leave, Ching couldn't help worrying about her test. Before she could think much, Wen Yufeng leaned in. Looking at the roguish boy in front of her, Ching couldn't help but be distracted. She had never seen such a good-looking boy. "Little rabbit, do you remember what I said at the entertainment city?" "I remember." "Then why aren't you running yet?" Ching felt the boy in front of her was a bad seed. Knowing she couldn't run now, he still asked such a childish question. Wen Yufeng looked at Ching's puffy cheeks and felt inexplicably happy. At this time, he also noticed the paper the girl was doing, which turned out to be first-year high school questions. He couldn't help being a bit puzzled. "Aren't you only 15? You should be in the third year of junior high. Why are you here?" When he learned that Ching had skipped grades, Wen Yufeng's face darkened a few shades. Immediately, he put some distance between himself and Ching. "Since you are a good student, then study hard. Next time you see me, remember to hide far away." At this moment, Ching was also confused. She didn't understand. Did she say something wrong? He said the same thing at the entertainment city before, but she didn't think much more about it and continued to do the questions. But she didn't know that Wen Yufeng had been secretly watching her and praising her beauty in his heart. It's a pity that no matter how cute she is a spotless crystal rabbit. If he rashly held her in his hands and broke her, he would definitely feel very distressed. As time passed, Ching quickly finished the paper. She then stretched herself. At this time, she also noticed Wen Yufeng, who had been standing all along. She hurriedly stood up and gave him her seat. Wen Yufeng didn't refuse seeing this, picked up her paper, and started reading. Looking at the neat handwriting on it, Wen Yufeng couldn't help but admire the girl's academic attainments. At the same time, Ching was attracted by his hand holding the paper. She raised her own hand to compare with it. She just felt like she was congenitally disabled. Before she could think much, Wen Yufeng turned around and praised, "It's really a pity for you to stay at number 1 middle school." Hearing this, the scene of the boy asking the teacher to expel him earlier unconsciously floated in the girl's mind. She thought since he said so, she should also say something. Actually, dropping out isn't good either. Hearing this, the corners of Wen Yufeng's mouth hooked up. Why isn't it good? Hearing this question, Ching began to think. She remembered her second uncle saying this when scolding her cousin. "If you don't study hard, you won't have a good job in the future. If you can't find a good job, no young girl will be willing to marry you in the future." As soon as she finished speaking, Wen Yufeng laughed. He didn't expect this little white rabbit to be so cute, giving such an old-fashioned reason, while Qingqing on the side was still a bit confused, not knowing what this person was laughing at. Just then, the teacher suddenly came back. As soon as she pushed the door open, she saw Wen Yufeng staring at Qingqing with a smirk, seeing that the little cabbage she worked so hard to plant was about to be dug up by a wild boar. Teacher Fu exploded on the spot. Wen Yufeng, now you even dare to bully little girls, right? Qingqing heard this and knew the teacher misunderstood. She was just about to explain, but was stopped by Wen Yufeng. I saw the little classmate was tired of sitting earlier, so I just asked her to give up the seat. Teacher, do you have to manage this too? Teacher Fu saw she couldn't outtalk him, so she waved her hand to let him leave quickly. Before leaving, Wen Yufeng was still reluctant to part with his little white rabbit, so he turned back and instructed, "Little rabbit, next time you meet me, remember to stay far away from me." Listening to his pleasant voice, Qingqing's heart was already fluttering. She had never seen anyone state a rejection so directly. But was she too close just now? Just as Qingqing was letting her imagination run wild, Wen Yufeng was already walking towards his classroom, but unexpectedly met Director Sun halfway. "Wen Yufeng, I heard you didn't come to class again yesterday." "Director Sun, I know I was wrong. I'm going back to study hard right now. Do you have anything else?" Unexpectedly, as soon as his voice fell, his good brother's voice came from the side. "Hello, Director Sun. We are paying our respects to you." As soon as Director Sun saw these two little rascals, he immediately lost his temper. "Li Xiang, instead of preparing for class in the classroom, what are you doing running here again?" "I am preparing for class." "Brother, you said before that next period is basketball. It's PE class." Hearing this, Director Sun almost fainted from anger, just as he was preparing to teach these two brats a lesson. Wen Yufeng on the side suddenly spoke up. "Li Xiang, basketball class is canceled. Next period is self-study." Seeing his boss had spoken, Li Xiang slipped back in a classroom. "Director Sun, I've given you face in exchange for my peace for the last month of the semester. For the next month, no matter who checks the post, I'll trouble Director to handle it." Hearing this, Director Sun could only helplessly agree. Who asked the Wen family to donate to their school? After one class, Wen Yufeng was already tired and sleeping soundly on the desk. Just then, a classmate actually shouted loudly in the class, "Tell everyone a shocking gossip. There's a junior high school girl in Teacher Fu's office who scored first in the third-year monthly exam." Unexpectedly, after he finished speaking, there was not a single sound in the class. Just as he was wondering what was wrong with everyone, he suddenly noticed a figure sleeping in the back row. At this moment, he felt he was done for. Who didn't know that the famous brother Yu of the whole school had a bad temper when waking up? Just as he was preparing to face the boss's anger, he found that Wen Yufeng didn't even lift his head. At this time, Li Xiang couldn't help but be a little confused. What's wrong with brother Yu today? Little did he know that Wen Yufeng had already been woken up by the noise. He was just thinking about where he would meet that little white rabbit next time. "Old Wong, what do you think that top-ranking junior high girl looks like?" "I don't know. Actually, you don't need to think to know. That kind of girl definitely wears thick, flat glasses and has an ugly hairstyle." Before he could finish speaking, a pillow flew over at him. Just as Li Xiang wanted to see which blind person hit him, he saw brother Yu looking at him with a dark face. "Try saying another sentence." Li Xiang had never seen brother Yu like this, and immediately shut up. "Clearly, my little white rabbit is so cute. How is it as outrageous as he said?" With the release of the monthly exam results, Qingqing once again finished the entrance exams with top scores. However, her summer vacation did not become any easier because of this. Under her mother's arrangement, she spent a month and a half completing the entire curriculum for the first year of high school. One day, she suddenly heard her second brother's voice from inside her room. She went downstairs just to see her second brother pestering their mother. Want to take her out for a spin. Their mother couldn't withstand the brat, and finally agreed. Qingqing thought her brother would take her to an amusement park, but unexpectedly, he brought her to a mixed martial arts arena. She was instantly speechless. Is this the good place her brother was talking about? She wanted to drag him away, but seeing that he had already bought the tickets, she had no choice but to follow him inside to take a look. As soon as she entered, the host's loud introduction rang out through the venue. When Qingqing clearly saw the figure standing in the ring, she instantly froze. She didn't understand why Wen Yufeng would be here. During the subsequent match, Qingqing kept curled up in the corner, afraid to look at the situation on stage. "Hey, brother, help me watch the match up there. Remember to tell me if anything happens to him, okay?" Hearing these words, Qin Hao couldn't help but feel suspicious, seeing Wen Yufeng on stage constantly looking at his Qin. Qin Hao felt very uneasy. This brat, he isn't targeting my little Qing, is he? In a short while, Wen Yufeng won the match. Hearing the host cheers, Qin finally opened her eyes. But as soon as she looked up, she saw Wen Yufeng staring at her with a wicked smirk. "Are you afraid I'd get hurt?" Seeing someone coveting his little Qin Hao immediately stood in front of her. "Who are you?" Seeing the tension between the two growing heavier, Qin hurriedly explained, "He is a senior from our school. He's my brother." "Little White Rabbit, didn't you call me brother a couple of days ago? How come you've acknowledged another one these past 2 days? He really is my brother." Seeing that his sister's state wasn't right, Qin Hao immediately blocked him. "I don't care what you do. As Qing's cousin, I'm warning you. Stay away from our Qing. Don't appear in front of her again in the future." Wen Yufeng just smiled faintly after hearing this and left the place. Qin watched his retreating figure, feeling a mix of emotions. She felt that when Yufeng's smile earlier was like a hunter looking at prey. She didn't know if it was her own illusion. On the last day of summer vacation, because Qin's mother had to go out of province for work, she had Qin move to Grandma's house in Feline Yuan first. By the time she finished tidying the room, it was already noon. She was just about to go downstairs to throw out the trash. But the moment the elevator doors opened, she completely froze. Qin hadn't expected to run into Wen Yufeng here. Just as she was dazed, Grandma's voice rang out from the side. Tian, here's another bag of trash. Take it down together." "Okay." Just like that, Qin walked stiffly into the elevator. At this moment, the elevator seemed unusually quiet. Qin didn't understand why this rascal hadn't left yet. Before she could ask, Wen Yufeng beside her spoke first, calling out Tian. Hearing this nickname, Qin instantly blushed. She just wanted to find a hole to crawl into right now. Aside from Grandma, this was the first time someone had called her by her childhood nickname. It was truly mortifying. Seeing the elevator doors about to open, Qin rushed out first, telling Wen Yufeng to stay away from her. Looking at this shy little rabbit, the corners of Wen Yufeng's mouth couldn't help but hook up. He thought, she's obedient this time, but a bit too late. When Qin returned from throwing out the trash, she didn't see that rascal anywhere along the way. Only then did she breathe a sigh of relief and hurriedly went home. As soon as she entered the door, she was enveloped by the rich aroma of food. Looking at the delicious food on the table, Qin's eyes instantly lit up. While eating, she couldn't help but ask Grandma if she knew the family living opposite them. As soon as she finished speaking, Grandma's face dimmed a little. The family opposite hasn't lived there for many years. It's always been just one person living there. Year-round, no family members ever show their faces. He's a very pitiful child. But Tian, why do you suddenly ask about this? Nothing. I just happened to run into him when taking out the trash earlier. Hearing Qin's explanation, Grandma didn't suspect anything. But she still warned her, Tian, although the young man across the hall is very handsome, don't be foolish. Not long ago, I saw a girl from your number 1 middle school pestering that young man early in the morning, crying and making a scene in the hallway. You're not young anymore. You can't be like that girl. Although this young man has good living habits, he definitely provokes girls at school. Hearing Grandma's words, Qin nodded affirmatively. Right? I can't get involved with this playboy. Soon, number 1 middle school welcomed the start of the semester. Just entering the school gate, the first-year students went to check their class assignments. Among them were 3 figures who looked out of place. The thug trio. The buddy beside him saw Brother Yu looking so seriously and couldn't help but be puzzled, wondering who could attract Brother Yu's attention. It wasn't until when Yufeng found Qin's name on the list that he revealed a smile. At the same time, Qin was distressed about the upcoming military training. She didn't know how she would get through it. Her worst subject was PE. Just as she was worrying, there was a figure at the doorway looking at her. That person was Wen Yufeng. Looking at this dazed little white rabbit, Wen Yufeng couldn't help but smile and slowly walked to her side. At this moment, Qin also noticed Wen Yufeng beside her. She retreated backward in fear. She didn't understand what this rascal wanted to do now. Just like that, the two stared at each other for a long time. Eventually, Wen Yufeng turned his head away first, telling her not to look at him with those eyes. Leaving behind a sentence, "Train hard," he hurriedly left. Qin looked at Wen Yufeng's retreating back. her face full of confusion. She remembered her best friend once said, Wen Yufeng was famous throughout the school for fighting and clubbing. Why didn't she mention his brain wasn't good either? But she didn't know. The Wen Yufeng just now had long blushed from her staring, forgetting everything his brain wanted to say. That was what led to that dramatic scene earlier. Soon, the first year welcomed military training. Qin Qing was also tormented beyond words by this high-intensity training. Just as she was drinking water, a girl suddenly popped up beside her. This gave Qin Qing a fright. Hello, I'm Zhua Eng. I'm in the same class as you. Everyone in our class knows you. You were already famous before summer vacation. Hearing what she said, Qin Qing didn't know what to say for a moment, until she asked about her relationship with Wen Yufeng. Qin Qing, to avoid being misunderstood by others, had to say she didn't know him. However, just as she finished speaking, Wen Yufeng's dissatisfied voice came from behind. Are you sure the two of us don't know each other? Looking at his teasing gaze, Qin Qing wanted to explain, but was startled by a whistle from afar. She immediately used the whistle as an excuse to flee the scene. Wen Yufeng watched her hiding from him without getting discouraged. Anyway, she would come back in a while. Sure enough, when Qin Qing ran over, the instructor scolded. Didn't I say water bottles can't be brought to the training area? At this moment, Qin Qing was very annoyed. How could she forget this in her panic? So she ran back to Wen Yufeng to put down the water. Wen Yufeng looked at her cute appearance, holding back a laugh. She really was a crystal rabbit fleeing in defeat. The June weather was already scorching. To strengthen the students' physical fitness, the instructors made them run laps around the playground. For a time, complaints rose from the surrounding students. Even Qin Qing couldn't hold on much longer. She was just about to give up, but saw a tall figure not far away. She saw Wen Yufeng holding a water bottle, preparing to hand her water. But when Qin Qing ran in front of him, she didn't stop. She didn't know what was wrong with herself. She just didn't want to give up in front of this person. Seeing the finish line getting closer, suddenly she felt her legs go soft and she fell to the ground. Wen Yufeng looked at the crowd gathering over there, his hand holding the water bottle tightening unconsciously. He only hoped that wasn't Qin Qing. But when he clearly saw the figure surrounded by the crowd, he couldn't stand still anymore and ran forward. But after running a few steps, two figures behind him blocked his way. At the same time, Qin Qing also slowly recovered her strength. But then the crowd of onlookers suddenly fell into chaos. Look, a boy over there actually started fighting with the instructor. When Qin Qing looked over there, she saw Wen Yufeng walking towards her with a gloomy face. She had never seen him look like this. You have heat stroke. I'll take you to the infirmary. Saying that, he crouched down. Looking at the crowd packed around them, Qin Qing blushed instantly. She wanted to refuse him, but the next second, Wen Yufeng actually pulled her up. This action immediately drew cheers from the surrounding onlookers. At this moment, Qin Qing's face turned even redder. She just wanted to find a hole to hide in. But no matter how she hit Wen Yufeng wouldn't listen. Just like that, amidst the students' cheers, Wen Yufeng carried her into the infirmary. Seeing this, the school nurse was also stunned for a moment. Immediately, she said grumpily, "Don't be so rough next time. Be gentler with girls." Hearing this, Wen Yufeng just smiled and agreed. Okay, next time I'll definitely handle with care. Looking at the puffing Qin Qing beside him, Wen Yufeng just found it funny. Why are you so easy to bully? Qin Qing huffed and ignored him. After the nurse finished checking and saw there were no major issues, Wen Yufeng finally relaxed. He casually took out the iodine, preparing to apply medicine for Qin Qing. Unexpectedly, she kept calling him senior. This stumped Wen Yufeng. You're not allowed to call me senior anymore. If you call me that again, I'll make you run laps around the playground. That day, as soon as Wen Yufeng sent Qin Qing out, he was stopped by Director Sun. Wen Yufeng, how could you fight with the instructor? Director Sun, I wasn't the one who started it. Even so, you were a student after all. Nominally, they're your mentors too. Before he could finish speaking, Wen Yufeng laughed first. Director Sun, they have nothing to do with me. I'm not their soldier. Whether you want to issue a public criticism or put me on probation, I can accept it all. Also, that girl I took away earlier, approve a leave for her. As soon as he finished speaking, he left. By the time he arrived at the classroom, his lackey in the front row sent him cheers. Brother Yu, congratulations on being nominated on the blacklist again. I heard that for a little freshman girl, you fought directly with the instructor. That little girl wouldn't be the Qin Xing you asked me to inquire about before, right? As soon as he finished speaking, Wen Yufeng cast him a cold look and questioned if he had leaked it. This gave Li Xiang a fright. He immediately swore to the heavens, "Brother Yu, I promise you. Only Zhao Zirwei and I know about this matter. We haven't revealed it to anyone else." But looking at the current development trend, soon people will be asking around the first year. Hearing him say this, Wen Yufeng's face unconsciously darkened. He didn't want anyone to harass his little white rabbit, so he immediately told Li Xiang to pick the most noisy one from that group of big mouths and simply scare them a bit. If they still don't listen, then see them after school. Also, what did you stuff on my desk again? The next second, Li Xiang scratched his head in embarrassment. This is the new adult magazine I got. Isn't it safer to leave it with you temporarily? But don't worry. Next time I'll wrap it in a textbook cover. Looking at his unreliable brother, Wen Yufeng only felt a headache. Time quickly reached noon. The students in the classroom had all gone to eat. Only the delinquent trio remained. Just as they were discussing where to eat, a lot of girls suddenly gathered at the door. Seeing this, Li Xiang couldn't help but complain. Has this Qi Lulu not given up yet? Sure enough, in a moment, Qi Lulu came to Wen Yufeng's desk and invited him to watch a movie tonight. Hearing this, Wen Yufeng just coldly replied no time and continued reading the magazine. At this time, Qi Lulu also noticed what he was reading, and a faint smile appeared on her face. I knew it. How could you possibly like that little girl named Qin Xing? I heard she looks like an undeveloped bean sprout. Before she could finish her sentence, Wen Yufeng threw the magazine directly onto the table, roaring at her. Compare with her? Are you worthy? Just like that, Qi Lulu was directly kicked out by Wen Yufeng in front of his two buddies. With the end of number 1 middle school's military training, Qin Qing's body also recovered. Zhue Eng, beside her, was very happy to see Qin Qing finally come into school. Little Qing, did you know? Wen Yufeng got a demerit for conflicting with the instructor that day. A few days ago, people came to ask about you, saying he dumped his school beauty girlfriend because of you. Unexpectedly, after she finished saying all this, Qin Qing was completely unmoved by it and asked with a confused face who the school beauty was. This made Zhue Eng shed tears for her innocence. Facts prove that a big shot's love life can be just as full of twists and turns. Before she could finish explaining to Qin Qing who the school beauty was, a teacher walked in from outside the door. He told Qin Qing to pack her things and go process her promotion procedures. Before leaving, Qin Qing gave her contact information to Zhue Eng. Then she said goodbye to her. Meanwhile, inside class 6 of the second year of high school, the trio was preparing to sneak out to play basketball. Seeing this, the teacher angrily scolded them to stand right there. Unexpectedly, the trio ignored him completely and left the classroom directly. At this moment, on the other side of the corridor, Qin Qing happened to be transferring into class 6 of the second year. Seeing Qin Qing looking thoughtful, Teacher Fu promised her, "Qin Qing, don't worry. If Wen Yufeng dares to bully you again, just come find me. I will definitely help you solve it." Qin Qing wanted to explain to Teacher Fu about the incident in the office last time, but Teacher Fu took her directly into the classroom to report in. Just like that, after Qin Qing gave a brief introduction, she officially entered the new class. Meanwhile, the trio playing basketball on the playground also received the message that a new student had entered the class. Immediately, they stopped playing basketball, planning to go see this pretty new student. But when they arrived at the back door of the classroom, they found that the back door wouldn't open no matter what. It turned out this period was physics class. Teacher Shin looked at the empty seats in the back row and knew exactly what those three had gone to do. He had long since asked a student to lock the back door. He originally thought that this time no one would interrupt his class halfway through. Unexpectedly, Wen Yufeng was prepared and had made a key for the back door in advance. Just like that, Wen Yufeng walked into the classroom grandly. Hearing that familiar sound from the back door, Qin Qing felt her heart beat faster. She only hoped that bad egg wouldn't see her. Unexpectedly, Wen Yufeng had already seen her, and a smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. Immediately, he prepared to tease this little rabbit. "Ooh, who is this? Has the new transfer student introduced herself?" Upon hearing this, Qin Qing just gave a soft affirmative sound. "What a pity, I didn't hear it. So, little classmate, shouldn't you give me a separate introduction?" Qin Qing's heart was beating very fast at this moment. She tried her best to warn herself not to be bewitched by this bad egg. She softly said Qin Qing and then quickly lowered her head. Hearing her soft voice, Wen Yufeng felt very happy inside. He didn't know why. but he always liked to bully her. Immediately, he reached out his hand towards Qin Xing and smiled. "Little classmate, my name is Wen Yufeng. Please take care of me in the future." Qin Xing was momentarily confused as to why this bad egg was suddenly so formal. Just as her hand was about to touch Wen Yufeng's, Teacher Fu's roar came from outside the door. "Wen Yufeng, you bully little girls again and again. Do you think you are invincible in this school? Do you believe I will apply for an expulsion punishment for you right now to save you from harming people?" After hearing this, Wen Yufeng did not refute, but just hooked his lips and smiled. "Then I'll trouble you, Teacher Fu. I will definitely cooperate." Seeing the smell of gunpowder between the two getting stronger, Qin Xing suddenly stood up. "Teacher Fu, you misunderstood. Just now, I was borrowing a textbook from Senior Wen, and last time in the office, I offered my seat voluntarily. Even during the military training before, it was because I had heat stroke, and Senior Wen clashed with the instructor in order to send me to the infirmary." Looking at Qin Xing's determined eyes, Teacher Fu finally calmed down. He asked Wen Yufeng, who was standing aside, to verify the truth. Seeing Wen Yufeng nod in agreement, Teacher Fu didn't know what to say for a moment, just as he was thinking about what to do next. The bell for class rang outside the next second, so Teacher Fu left using class time as an excuse. Seeing the teacher finally leave, Qin Xing breathed a sigh of relief. This was the first time she had lied to the homeroom teacher in front of the whole class. Just as she was calming herself down, Wen Yufeng leaned in front of her, asking if she was always this helpful. "Senior, I am repaying kindness, not being helpful." Hearing this, Wen Yufeng couldn't help laughing out loud. He didn't expect this little rabbit to speak so funnily. "Repaying kindness. Just like when you called me brother that day you saved me?" Seeing him bring up that dark history again, Qin Xing's face unconsciously turned red, and her speech became stuttered. Wen Yufeng looked at her cute and dazed appearance, and now he just wanted to pinch her cheek. However, he held back. At this time, the teacher also walked into the classroom to start the lesson. Wen Yufeng tactfully walked to the back row. This period was chemistry, just as Qin Xing was distressed about not having a textbook. The student behind her passed her a book. "Brother, you asked me to give this to you." Qin Xing wanted to say thank you to Wen Yufeng, but seeing that he was sleeping, she didn't disturb him. Then she opened the book. Looking at the brand new textbook, Qin Xing couldn't help suspecting that this bad egg had never opened the book. Just then, she suddenly noticed two words in the bottom left corner of one of the pages. Seeing it was her nickname, Qin Xing immediately closed the book shyly. At the same time, Wen Yufeng, who was sleeping on his stomach in the back row, had an imperceptible curve at the corner of his mouth. The time for a class passed fleetingly. When class ended, Qin Xing was still immersed in knowledge, unable to extricate herself. Just as she was preparing to study this problem, two figures suddenly flashed in front of her, greeting her with grins. "Student Qin, we heard your name a long time ago. Very happy to meet you." Li Xiang originally wanted to say something more, but was rendered speechless by Brother Yu, who suddenly appeared at the door staring at him. "Class is about to start. What are you still standing here for?" "Okay, Brother Yu, we're leaving right now." Qin Xing looked at their retreating backs, still thinking about returning the book. Just as she was zoning out, Fang Xiaojing beside her started gloating. "I thought you had a very good relationship with Wen Yufeng. Now it looks like it's just SOSO. Qin Xing didn't get angry because of her provocation, just responded casually. She remembered her cousin once said, when encountering people who look for trouble out of nothing, just treat them as air. Just as she was wondering if she had learned bad habits, a math book suddenly appeared on the desk. "This is for the next class." Seeing Wen Yufeng about to leave, Qin Xing quickly grabbed him. Just then, the originally noisy classroom suddenly became quiet. The surrounding students couldn't help discussing. Brother Yu hates people touching him the most usually. This new little girl is really bold. At this time, Qin Xing, who was holding his hand, realized something was wrong and hurriedly let go. "Sorry, you don't have to lend me the book because of what I said earlier. You can use it yourself." Looking at the panicked little rabbit in front of him, Wen Yufeng only found it funny. "I don't need it. Might as well treat it as repaying your life-saving grace." As soon as his voice fell, Qin Xing turned her head away angrily. This bad egg brought up her dark history again. The buddies in the back row couldn't stay calm seeing this scene. Back then, they just lightly touched Brother Yu while playing ball, and Brother Yu beat them to death. But today, that little girl grabbed him for a long time. Yet nothing happened. This is obviously differential treatment. They wanted to say something more, but were interrupted by the homeroom teacher, who suddenly appeared. "Students, because the PE teacher is sick, this period is changed to math. As soon as his voice fell, wails erupted from the students below. Teacher Fu was already used to seeing this scene. At this time, he turned his gaze to Qin Qing, asking if she was adapting well to the new class. Seeing Qin Qing nod, Teacher Fu was very happy inside. He liked this little girl very much, not only because she studied well, but also because she was obedient and sensible. Unlike the three heavenly kings sitting in the back row of his class, who only knew how to cause trouble for him all day. Then he gave the class roster to Qin Qing, asking her to be his math class representative, and told her to remember to collect yesterday's test papers after evening self-study tonight. Hearing about evening self-study, Qin Qing was dumbfounded on the spot. The teacher was not surprised seeing her like this, just smiled and explained, "You just moved up and are not quite clear about the high school schedule yet. The high school section has evening self-study after dinner. Usually, school doesn't end until 9:30. As soon as Teacher Fu finished speaking, Qin Qing's face instantly dimmed. She didn't expect high school to end so late. She usually went to sleep at 9 every night, just as she had a headache about how to go home at night. Unbeknownst to her, her expression just now fell into the eyes of Wen Yufeng in the back row. As the bell for the end of the last class rang, the two in the back row could no longer restrain the urge to leave school, asking Brother Yu where to play tonight. Seeing Brother Yu unmoved, the two brothers were a bit confused. They remembered that Brother Yu was the most active every night. What was wrong today? Just as they thought Brother Yu was feeling unwell somewhere, they saw Wen Yufeng calmly spit out a few words. "Not going anywhere tonight. I'm attending evening self-study." Hearing this, the two brothers instantly couldn't stay calm. "Brother Yu, are you possessed?" They wanted to say something more, but were scared away by a look from Wen Yufeng. At sunset, sunlight spilled onto the classroom floor through the windows. Students poured into the classroom one after another to prepare for evening self-study. Just then, a tall figure also entered the classroom. This shocked all the students present. They didn't expect Brother Yu to actually come for evening self-study. Truly a once-in-a-lifetime sight. Wen Yufeng ignored these voices, but walked to Qin Qing's seat and handed the bag in his hand to her. "Your dinner." Qin Qing was stunned on the spot by this sudden scene. She just wanted to refuse, but was stopped by Wen Yufeng. "If you dare not to eat, I will bring it to you every day from now on, until you eat it. Besides, I'm just repaying kindness." After speaking, he left, leaving Qin Qing sitting there alone in a daze. Mom said desserts shouldn't be touched. Eating them will make you fat. Just as she was struggling with whether she should eat it, Fang Xiaojing, who returned from the cafeteria at this time, couldn't help exclaiming, "I really couldn't tell you have quite some research on food. The dessert from this shop are famous, and this is the newest model. I haven't been able to grab one even once until now." Listening to what her desk mates said, Qin Qing was also tempted for a moment, thinking that just one bite should be fine, right? Unexpectedly, she couldn't stop after just one bite. At this moment, Wen Yufeng, who was peeking at Qin Qing eating from the back row, had a faint smile on the corner of his mouth. Time quickly arrived at the high school evening self-study. In the classroom, students were seriously doing their homework, while Qin Qing was collecting yesterday's test papers. Seeing that she had collected almost all of them, she breathed a sigh of relief. But now only Wen Yufeng's was left. She looked at Wen Yufeng sleeping in the back row, feeling that he was quiet like a girl now. The contrast with his usual self was too great. But even if he was so well-behaved now, he still had a hand in the paper. Then she went to Wen Yufeng's side and gently patted him, asking him to hand in the paper. Wen Yufeng was also woken up by this movement, frowning unhappily, revealing a gloomy and cold look. Just when the whole class thought Brother Yu would lose his temper. But when Wen Yufeng saw clearly that the person waking him was Qin Qing, he suppressed the anger in his heart again. "I'm here to collect the papers. You're the only one in the class who hasn't handed it in. Teacher Fu will scold you if he knows. Little classmate, I have a very bad temper when waking up." Wen Yufeng thought that by saying this, Qin Qing would tactfully leave. Unexpectedly, Qin Qing had no intention of leaving at all. "Student Wen, you haven't handed in your paper." Hearing her call him Student Wen again, Wen Yufeng's face darkened a bit more. "What did you call me?" This time, Qin Qing finally chickened out, lowering her head in fear. Seeing this little rabbit being so cute, Wen Yufeng couldn't help laughing out loud. "Little classmate, I usually don't do homework. But not doing homework is bad." "How is it bad?" "Is it that I won't find a good job in the future, and no little girl will want to marry me?" Seeing that she couldn't out-talk him, Qin Qing could only leave angrily. She didn't understand why this bad egg was so annoying. Thinking about it, she unconsciously fell asleep. When she woke up, it was Wen Yufeng beside her who woke her up. Little classmate, if you don't leave, be careful, the big bad wolf will come to catch you. Hearing this, Qin Xing hurriedly packed her school bag and left the classroom. But just as she went downstairs, she was startled by Wen Yufeng hiding aside. She didn't understand what this bad egg wanted to do. Thinking that this was a public place, he shouldn't do anything to her. So she ignored him and left directly. Wen Yufeng looked at her retreating figure and couldn't help smiling. Then he followed behind Qin Xing all the way. Qin Xing wanted to walk faster to shake him off. But even if she used all her strength, Wen Yufeng still followed beside her. Bad egg, why are you following me? Isn't this your first time attending evening self-study to go home? Since it's on the way, I'll walk you back. Hearing this, Qin Xing didn't know how to refuse for a moment. So the two walked all the way like this, until they reached a roadside. Senior, the dessert today was delicious. Also, thank you for helping me before. But even if it's the repayment of kindness you mentioned, I think we are already even. Thank you for your concern about my going home, Senior. But my mom has already notified my cousin to pick me up. So, Senior, we don't need to repay kindness anymore in the future. Sending me here is enough. I'm leaving first, Senior. Wen Yufeng looked at her retreating back, feeling as if something in his heart had disappeared. Watching his girl being led away by someone else, yet having no right to reach out and snatch her back. This made Wen Yufeng very sad. Therefore, after school started the next day, the two never spoke again. The surrounding classmates also noticed the anomaly. Just as they were wondering what was wrong with Brother Yu, the voice of the Chinese class representative on the podium interrupted their thoughts. The next class is Chinese. The teacher will be spot-checking recitations, so everyone get ready quickly. Hearing this, the students below instantly grew nervous. Qin Xing was no exception. Her books hadn't been distributed yet. She was just about to ask her desk mate if she could share, but was rejected the very next second. This gave Qin Xing a headache. The only person she knew in the class was Wen Yufeng. She wasn't familiar with the other students, but yesterday she had said such harsh words. Wen Yufeng must still be angry with her. But what she didn't know was, Wen Yufeng had been secretly watching her the whole time. Just then, the lackey at the back door, calling Brother Yu to play ball, was getting a bit impatient waiting and urged Brother Yu to hurry up. But Wen Yufeng acted as if he hadn't heard a thing, walking straight over to Qin Xing with his own Chinese textbook. He asked her if she needed the textbook. Hearing his voice, Qin Xing was stunned at first, then obediently nodded her head. She thought to herself that this person was really nice, not holding a grudge over what she said. Before she could open her mouth to say thank you, Wen Yufeng revealed a wicked grin. Little classmate, didn't you say yesterday that we were even? So I can lend you the book. But in exchange, you have to promise me one thing. Seeing Qin Xing nod in agreement, Wen Yufeng felt very happy inside. He immediately leaned close to Qin Xing's ear, telling her to call him by his name, without missing a single character. Call my name, and I'll give you the book. Listening to his gentle voice, Qin Xing was dazed for a good while. She didn't expect this bad egg to make such a request. Seeing Qin Xing hesitate to speak, Wen Yufeng was clearly getting a bit impatient waiting. He resorted to coercion and bribery. Little classmate, if you say it, not only will the book be yours, but I'll also buy you a small cake to eat. Unexpectedly, as soon as he finished speaking, Qin Xing rejected him. Looking at this cute little rabbit, Wen Yufeng didn't force her any further. He tossed the book down and went to play ball with his buddies. In the time that followed, Wen Yufeng continued to lend his books to Qin Xing, but the two of them barely spoke. Soon, Qin Xing's books were distributed. Just as Qin Xing was happy that she wouldn't have to trouble Wen Yufeng anymore, her phone rang. Seeing an unknown number, Qin Xing answered the call in confusion. Hearing the familiar voice on the other end, it turned out to be Zhuo Enk. Xiaoqing, we haven't seen each other for almost a week. Have you almost forgotten me? How could I? But why did you think of contacting me today? I just wanted to ask how you've been lately. I heard you were assigned to the same class as the school bully. Yes. Then aren't you in a favorable position to get close to him? He and I are just ordinary classmates. Hearing this answer, Zhuo Enk was clearly a bit disappointed. Anyway, don't go anywhere after the second period ends. I'm coming to find you to hang out. Okay, but plans can never keep up with changes. The teacher dragged the second period on for nearly 10 minutes before dismissing the class. As soon as class ended, it was unusually lively outside the classroom door. Just as Qin Xing thought Ank had come to find her, the classmate at the door shouted Wen Yufeng's name, saying the school beauty Ling had come to see him. Hearing this, Qin Xing could only sit back down helplessly. However, the school beauty Ling the classmate mentioned made her a bit curious. She remembered Ank once saying that this girl was Wen Yufeng's ex-girlfriend, just as she was lost in thought. The classmate at the door reminded Qin Xing that someone was looking for her. At the same time, Wen Yufeng, who had just walked to the podium, paused in his steps. The atmosphere in the room instantly fell silent. Before Qin Xing could go out, Wen Yufeng closed the classroom door. He aggressively demanded to know who outside was looking for Qin Xing. Seeing the visitor was a girl, Wen Yufeng finally breathed a sigh of relief. Meanwhile, Qin Xing was using all her strength, but still couldn't pull the door open. Just as she was considering climbing out the window, the door opened by itself. She saw Wen Yufeng looking at her with a smile. At this moment, Qin Xing just wanted to hit this bad egg, not understanding why he closed the door for no reason. She was just about to go out when Wen Yufeng grabbed her wrist. "Sorry, little classmate. I didn't close the door on purpose." Qin Xing was startled by this sudden scene, clamoring for Wen Yufeng to let go. But Wen Yufeng didn't listen to her, and instead leaned closer and closer. "Little classmate, I'm apologizing to you. It wouldn't be sincere if we weren't face to face." Qin Xing was truly angry this time and directly shouted Wen Yufeng's name. In an instant, the surrounding atmosphere fell silent. Everyone watched this playful scene, not daring to make sound. In this school, who dared to call the school bully by his full name? They thought the school bully would lose his temper. But the school bully did nothing, and even told Qin Xing to call him that from now on. This nearly made everyone present drop their jaws. Was this still the school bully they knew? After school, Beauty Ling finished looking for the school bully one. She clarified that there was no relationship between her and Wen Yufeng. This inevitably disappointed the gossip mongers on campus. Soon, Qin Xing also learned about this matter from the discussions of the surrounding classmates. It seemed she had misunderstood student one, just as she was thinking about how to apologize to Wen Yufeng. Fang Xiaojing's voice from the side interrupted her thoughts. "Qin Xing, it's our turn for duty today. I have something to do right now. Can you help wipe the blackboard for this period first? I'll do the next one, okay?" Qin Xing nodded obediently upon hearing this. But looking at the blackboard that was half a head taller than her, she spaced out a bit. She was so short. To wipe it all, it seemed she would have to stand on a stool. Meanwhile, the two brothers in the back row were just about to call Brother Yu to go play ball, but found the seat behind them empty, just as they were wondering where Brother Yu had gone. A gasp from the podium the next second attracted their attention. They saw Brother Yu directly lift Qin Xing off the stool and place her steadily on the ground. Before Qin Xing could recover, Wen Yufeng snatched the eraser from her hand and started wiping the blackboard for her. Instantly, the surrounding classmates were silenced by this sudden turn of events. And Qin Xing hadn't realized the situation yet, still staring at Wen Yufeng's legs, lost in her own world. She couldn't help but sigh in her heart. In this life, she probably had no destiny with long legs. At this moment, Teacher Shun had entered the classroom unbeknownst to them. Seeing the scene before him, he couldn't help but exclaim, "Oh, Wen Yufeng, you know how to wipe a blackboard? I always thought you wouldn't appear on the duty roster. But student Qin Xing, what are you standing there for?" As soon as his voice fell, the sound of Wen Yufeng tossing the eraser rang out from the side. "I'm on duty today. She's the supervisor. Isn't that right, little classmate?" Hearing this, Teacher Shin couldn't help but cast an admiring look at Qin Xing. It seems our little talented girl is really hiding her light under a bushel, able to supervise Wen Yufeng's work. Qin Xing felt like she was going to die of embarrassment at that moment, and quickly made up an excuse to slip out. Seeing this, Wen Yufeng followed her. It wasn't until he reached a stairwell that he saw a preoccupied Qin Xing. Before Wen Yufeng could ask what she was doing there, Qin Xing spoke first. "I'm sorry, student one. Please don't take what I said that night to heart. I misunderstood you. I apologize to you." As soon as she finished speaking, Wen Yufeng chuckled. "Little classmate, I'm very curious. What exactly did you misunderstand about me? Because of one-sided stories I heard, I labeled you as frivolous, senior, and said very excessive things to you, senior." Before Qin Xing could finish, she felt a softness on her head. She saw Wen Yufeng patting her head with a doting look on his face. Qin Xing felt warm inside at that moment. She didn't expect the school bully, whom everyone feared, to actually have such a gentle side. Before Qin Xing could be happy for long, Wen Yufeng started asking her for compensation. Seeing Qin Xing's blank expression, Wen Yufeng was clearly a bit dissatisfied. "What's wrong, little classmate? Are you planning to end this matter just like that?" Facing Wen Yufeng's serious expression, Qin Xing was obviously a bit flustered, whispering to ask what the senior wanted. Seeing his little wife being so sensible, Wen Yufeng didn't beat around the bush. He immediately put forward two demands. First, you're not allowed to call me senior anymore. Second, starting tomorrow, how about you take me to school? Hearing these demands, Qin Xing didn't sleep well all night. She got up early the next morning and ate breakfast. Looking at the clock on the side, seeing there was still 10 minutes before the agreed time, Qin Xing decided to wait outside early. But as soon as she stepped out the door, she froze in place. She saw Wen Yufeng leaning lazily against the window, slowly smoking. At this moment, Wen Yufeng also noticed Qin Xing's gaze. He hurriedly stubbed out the cigarette in his hand and fanned away the smoke. He didn't expect Qin Xing to come out so early. Wen Yufeng, smoking is harmful to your health. I'm an adult. Qin Xing looked at Wen Yufeng's nonchalant expression and didn't know why she felt so angry. She immediately lectured, "You're not that old yet. Even if there are no problems now, you will definitely suffer when you get older." Hearing her say this, Wen Yufeng was stunned for a moment, then started laughing. Qin Xing was very confused at this moment, not understanding what this bad egg was laughing at. Before she could ask, Wen Yufeng interrupted her first. "Little classmate, since last time, I've been a bit curious. Who exactly did you learn these words from?" Hearing that she learned them from her second brother, Wen Yufeng's face instantly darkened. "Is your relationship as siblings very good?" "Yes, second brother takes great care of me." Before she could finish, she saw Wen Yufeng staring at her with a dark expression. This left Qin Xing confused for a moment. She didn't understand which sentence she had said wrong. Soon the elevator came up. To avoid the awkward atmosphere, Qin Xing slipped into the elevator first. But while waiting for the elevator to reach the first floor, Qin Xing noticed that Wen Yufeng wasn't carrying a school bag. Just as she spoke up to remind him, she saw Wen Yufeng frown unhappily. "Little classmate, do you think I usually attend class?" Seeing Wen Yufeng say this, Qin Xing didn't say anything more. In the time that followed, Qin Xing explained a lot of math knowledge to Wen Yufeng, and Wen Yufeng listened silently from the side until the two walked to the bus stop. Seeing that Wen Yufeng wanted to take the bus, Qin Xing was momentarily confused. "Wouldn't it be faster for us to walk to school?" Looking at the bus route, it has to make a huge detour to get there. Before she could finish, Wen Yufeng dragged her directly onto the bus. Later, he used his leg pain as an excuse to brush it off. This time slot was the city's morning rush hour. There were crowds of people all around, and Qin Xing had almost no experience riding the bus. So as soon as the bus started, she fell entirely into Wen Yufeng's arms. Qin Xing saw Wen Yufeng's playful gaze, and only then realized something was wrong, hurriedly letting go. Wen Yufeng had wanted to tease this little white rabbit a bit more, but was afraid of scaring her away, so he dispelled the thought. As the bus stopped at the next station, more and more people got on. Even Wen Yufeng lost his footing and almost fell to the floor. At this moment, the two were very close. Qin Xing could even smell the mint scent on Wen Yufeng. Before Wen Yufeng could ask about Qin Xing's condition, he was interrupted by a hand suddenly reaching out to his waist. When Wen Yufeng checked who it was, he saw a pervert behind him winking at him. Wen Yufeng had never suffered such humiliation. Just as he was about to teach this pervert a lesson, he was stopped by Qin Xing behind him. They didn't push intentionally. Looking at the obedient little rabbit in front of him, Wen Yufeng ultimately chose to listen to her. Before long, the two arrived at the classroom. Everyone watched Wen Yufeng walk in, thinking their eyes were playing tricks on them. Didn't Brother Yu usually enter the classroom at the last second? What was going on today? Even the delinquent duo was a bit surprised to see Brother Yu arrive so early today. "But Brother Yu, what's wrong with you? Who provoked you? It wasn't Qin Xing, was it? It has nothing to do with her." Hearing this, Li Xiang instantly got interested. "Besides Qin Xing, who else dares to make our Brother Yu angry? I'll call a few brothers right now to deal with him. It's just that when I took the bus this morning, I was touched on the waist by a pervert." As soon as he finished speaking, the two people beside him instantly froze in place, then both burst out laughing. Ever since Wen Yufeng started arriving at school, on time, every day, news of the school bully going bankrupt began circulating on campus. But Li Xiang, who knew the inside story, couldn't help but complain. "Brother Yu, why do you insist on keeping a distance from the new student every time you come to school? As long as you show up with her, I guarantee the whole school will know why you're arriving early. But if I do as you say, I don't care, but what will happen to Qin Xing then? However, you keep an eye out recently. If anyone says anything they shouldn't outside, then I'll see them after school." When Wen Yufeng returned to the classroom after playing basketball, He didn't see the little rabbit's figure. This made him very anxious. Upon asking, he found out she had gone to the library. But when Yufeng found Qin Qing, he saw her explaining a problem to Yuwen. Although the two weren't sitting very close, Wen Yufeng, for some reason, felt as if the little cabbage he had his eye on was being rooted up by a pig. In the end, he couldn't resist stepping forward and pulling Qin Qing up. Little classmate, men and women should keep their distance. Do you understand? I know, but I was just explaining a problem to him. Seeing that Qin Qing was still unconvinced, Wen Yufeng immediately switched into swindler mode. Little classmate, think about it. When two people discuss a problem, the distance is bound to be very close. Then, one careless move and you might touch each other. So, you can't explain problems to him anymore, understand? Hearing this reasoning, Qin Qing was completely hoodwinked. Before leaving, Wen Yufeng didn't forget to threaten his rival, telling him to stay away from Qin Qing, or else face the consequences. As soon as he finished speaking, he angrily dragged Qin Qing away from there, leaving Yuwen standing there alone. At this moment, a lackey standing in the distance, who had witnessed everything that just happened, couldn't help but educate Qin Qing about Yuwen. Little classmate, you have to be careful of that guy, Yuwen. He's the school hunk of number 1 middle school. Relying on that handsome face, he's deceived quite a few young girls like you. So, men as clean and self-disciplined as our brother you are rare. You must cherish him. They wanted to say more, but were interrupted by Wen Yufeng beside them. Little rabbit, don't just explain problems to anyone in the future. If anyone asks, just tell them I only allow you to explain problems to me. As soon as his voice fell, Qin Qing issued a soul-searching question. Wen Yufeng, but you don't study. As soon as these words came out, it made the lackey's present laugh for quite a while. To regain his dignity, Wen Yufeng immediately made a promise to Qin Qing. From today on, the two of them will study with me. From then on, the study journey officially began. Wen Yufeng, take out the math test paper you did yesterday. I'll record your knowledge blind spots. However, the moment Wen Yufeng found the paper, Qin Qing was shocked to discover that Wen Yufeng only scored 22 points. Despite this, Qin Qing did not give up on him. She took a math book from the side, planning to teach Wen Yufeng from the basics. At this moment, Wen Yufeng stared at the book in Qin Qing's hands, feeling a bit puzzled. He remembered he hadn't put a cover on his math book. Before he could think about it seriously, a scream came from Qin Qing beside him. Without a word, she threw down the book and ran out, cursing Wen Yufeng as a bad egg. Just as Wen Yufeng was wondering what was wrong with Qin Qing, he noticed the cover that had slipped off. Looking at that glaring magazine, Wen Yufeng now only wanted to kill Li Xiang. In the time that followed, Li Xiang not only received special care from Wen Yufeng, but also had to apologize to Qin Qing every day. It could be said he was suffering unspeakably. Student Qin Qing, you have to believe me. That magazine is mine, and I wrapped the math book cover too. Because no one dares to touch Brother Yu's things, I put the book on his desk. It has absolutely nothing to do with Brother Yu. Student Qin Qing, you really misunderstood. You can't wrong an innocent person. Qin Qing didn't want to listen to Li Xiang's explanation, but she still asked one question, whether Wen Yufeng had touched that magazine. Hearing this, Li Xiang froze on the spot. How could he have expected Qin Qing to ask such a question? Seeing Li Xiang hesitate, Qin Qing knew the answer. Leaving behind the sentence, you men don't have a word of truth. She walked straight away, leaving Li Xiang behind, wanting to cry, but having no tears. Li Xiang felt that he was done for. How did he make things worse for Brother Yu the more he explained? Now he asked for nothing else, only hoping Brother Yu would leave him with one breath. Over the next week, Qin Qing thought that by no longer interacting with Wen Yufeng, she would forget the unpleasant things. Unexpectedly, it had no effect at all, just as she was wondering what was wrong with herself. Zhue Eng's voice from the desk behind interrupted her thoughts. Xiao Qing, there happens to be a basketball game today. Let's go watch it together. Seeing that she had nothing to do now, Qin Qing agreed. But when they got to the playground, it was already surrounded by a crowd, and cheers for Wen Yufeng could be heard from time to time. Hearing this, Zhue Eng immediately got excited. Xiao Qing, did you hear that? It's Wen Yufeng playing inside. We can't miss such a good opportunity. From a moment Qin Qing heard Wen Yufeng's name earlier, she wanted to find an excuse to leave. But in the end, she couldn't beat Zhue Eng and was forcibly dragged over. There were two groups of people on the court. Among them, Wen Yufeng, who was dribbling the ball, was very eye-catching. With just a light leap, he won a point for the team. Meanwhile, Zhue Eng, watching the game from the side, couldn't help but ask a question. Qin Qing, doesn't Li Xiang usually follow him around all the time? Why is he assigned to the other team today? Before Qin Xing could respond, a boy resting nearby laughed and answered. You guys didn't see what kind of ghostly stately Xiang was beaten into by Brother Yu earlier. He must have done something to offend Brother Yu again. And at this moment, Wen Yufeng, who was playing on the court, also noticed Qin Xing's figure. The next second, he called a stop to the game, saying he wasn't playing anymore. Everyone was stunned on the spot by this sudden scene. Wen Yufeng walked straight up to Qin Xing, staring at her for a good while. Seeing that her lips were a bit dry, he then looked away and asked a teammate beside him if there was water. The teammate was startled at first, then hurriedly handed the mineral water beside him to Wen Yufeng. After taking the water, Wen Yufeng didn't rush to drink it. Instead, he said to Qin Xing, "Little classmate, can I get by?" Wen Yufeng thought that by doing this, the little rabbit would look at him more. Unexpectedly, Qin Xing kept her head down the whole time, which made him feel a bit disappointed. Before leaving, he didn't forget to unscrew the water in his hand and hand it to Qin Xing. Qin Xing was a bit confused for a moment, not understanding why this bad egg did this. At this time, the surrounding students also began to discuss Qin Xing. Seeing that the situation was not right, Zhuo Enk hurriedly pulled Qin Xing away from there. Along the way, Zhuo Enk kept asking about her relationship with Wen. But no matter how she asked Qin Xing consistently refused to answer this question. "I'm sorry, Enk. This matter involves someone else's private affairs, so I can't say." Seeing that Qin Xing had put it this way, Zhuo Enk tactfully didn't pester her anymore. "Qin Xing, then I'll go back first. If you have any problems, you must tell me." Hearing this, Qin Xing smiled and nodded. After watching Zhuo Enk leave, she also went upstairs. But after walking only a few steps, a slightly hoarse laugh rang out. "Little rabbit, I didn't know. This counted as a private affair." Qin Xing was startled by the sudden voice and retreated backward in fear. When she saw clearly that the figure upstairs was Wen Yufeng, Qin Xing hurriedly handed the water to him. This action angered Wen Yufeng. He immediately vented his dissatisfaction at Qin Xing. "Little classmate, do you want to avoid having anything to do with me that much? I warned you back then to stay away from me. It's too late to run now." Qin Xing looked at the fierce Wen Yufeng in front of her, so scared that she didn't dare say a word. Seeing her silence, Wen couldn't help but sneer contemptuously. "Now you think I'm no good and want to get as far away from me as possible?" At this moment, Qin Xing bit her lower lip until it turned white. She hurriedly explained, "It's not like that." But this time, before Qin Xing could finish, the anger in Wen Yufeng's eyes could no longer be suppressed. "Then what do you want me to become? A good student who is eager to learn and improve? I'm so sorry, Qin Xing. I haven't been like that from the start." Hearing these words, Qin Xing's body paused slightly. She stared blankly at Wen Yufeng. This was the first time he had called her by her name directly. She was stunned for a while, and only after a long time did she speak softly. "I don't like it. What you're doing is wrong." Qin Xing's voice was still soft, but Wen Yufeng felt a heartache for some reason upon hearing it. Immediately, he chuckled and took a step back, his smile full of chilliness. "What does it matter to me if you don't like it? You think it's wrong, but I don't think so. Since you don't accept it, then from today on, we have nothing to do with each other. We don't know each other anymore." It was unknown how much time had passed, but only a lonely figure remained under the stairs. The next morning, Qin Xing got up very early. To avoid running into that bad egg, she had to leave the house early. But because she left in such a hurry, she even forgot to take her jacket. In late September in Qingsheng, the temperature difference between day and night was large. Coupled with the temperature drop today, Qin Xing felt a bit dizzy when she arrived at school. After getting a cup of hot water, she lay on the desk. She thought she would be fine after drinking some hot water, but the situation seemed to get worse later. She didn't even know when the teacher came in. She struggled to endure until class was over. But as soon as class ended, Fang Xiaojing beside her turned on the fan. At this time, Qin Xing, who was lying on the desk, slowly raised her head and asked Fang Xiaojing in a low voice if she could turn off the fan, as she had a bit of a cold. But before she could finish speaking, Fang Xiaojing rolled her eyes at her. "If you're cold, can't you wear more? What if I'm hot?" Qin Xing listened to this and felt it made sense, so she smiled apologetically. Coincidentally, this scene was also seen by Wen Yufeng in the back row. Li Xiang thought Brother you wouldn't care about Qin Xing's affairs anymore. Who would have expected that the next second, Wen Yufeng would stand up directly? He grabbed the jacket beside him and strode towards the front of the classroom with his long legs. He didn't stop until he reached Qin Xing's side. He first looked coldly at Fang Xiaojing beside her. and questioned softly, "Are you very hot? Do you need me to help you cool down?" Although this sentence was ambiguous, in Fang Xiaojing's view, this was a prelude to hitting someone. She froze for a few seconds first, then hurriedly came to her senses and turned off the fan. Meanwhile, Qin Xing, lying on the desk, vaguely heard a familiar voice. She slowly raised her small face and met Wen Yufeng's gaze. The next second, Wen Yufeng took off the clothes on his body, held them in front of the girl, and told her to put them on. Hearing his cold voice, Qin Xing frowned and lowered her head in grievance. She was sick, yet this bad egg was still so fierce. Just like yesterday. You said yesterday that we have nothing to do with each other anymore. I don't wear strangers' clothes. Wen Yufeng looked at the little rabbit's sickly appearance, and his heart was already twisted into a knot. In the end, he put down his pride, bent down to pick up Qin Xing, draped the clothes over her, and whispered in her ear that he was wrong. The girl was stunned at first upon hearing this, then obediently put on the clothes. The surrounding students were already dumbfounded seeing this scene. Is this still the one we know? Then they saw Wen finish putting the clothes on Qin Xing, and amidst the girl's dazed expression, he squatted down slightly. "Get on, I'll take you to the hospital." Qin Xing frowned slightly upon hearing this. Just as she wanted to refuse, she was interrupted by Wen Yufeng's voice. "Little rabbit, do you want to change position?" As soon as these words fell, Qin Xing hurriedly climbed onto Wen Yufeng's back. She didn't want to be carried away over his shoulder in front of so many people again. Seeing his method was effective, Wen Yufeng's thin lips curled up slightly. Before leaving, he didn't forget to instruct his lackeys to ask for leave for them for the next class. Just like that, Wen carried Qin Xing out of the classroom amidst everyone's astonished gazes. Qin Xing had grown up so big, yet this was the first time she had been carried on someone's back like this. She uncomfortably wrapped her arms around the boy's front, although the unfamiliar body heat made her want to let go. Just one glance to the side made Qin Xing dispel this thought. "How tall is this person?" 1 meter 86. As the low and husky voice sounded, Qin Xing was stunned. Then she realized that she seemed to have spoken the question in her mind out loud just now. It was really embarrassing, but he really is so tall. Sure enough, genetics is the most despairing thing in the world. Seeming to sense the low mood of the girl lying on his back, Wen Yufeng couldn't help but turn his head to ask her what was wrong. "Why are you so tall?" Wen Yufeng was startled at first, and after coming to his senses, he couldn't help but laugh. "What do you want to be tall for?" Qin Xing frowned and thought about it after hearing this. "I can see different scenery from now. I can touch things placed very high." In a short while, Wen Yufeng brought Qin Xing to the infirmary. Before entering the door, he whispered to Qin Xing, "Then I'll carry you to see in the future. I'll help you reach them." After his voice fell, he pushed the door open and entered the infirmary. The school nurse was right inside the infirmary. She first glanced at them, then was silent for a while. "Why is it you two again? What's wrong with the little girl?" "Cold and fever. The temperature shouldn't be lower than 38 degrees. The school nurse frowned upon hearing this, then took out a thermometer and handed it to Qin Xing. Looking at the school uniform jacket on Qin Xing that was obviously several sizes too big, she started complaining again. "You young girls nowadays just want style, not warmth. Did you not wear a jacket this morning?" The school nurse wanted to say more, but Wen Yufeng really couldn't bear it anymore. He spoke up to stop her. "If you want to blame someone, blame me. It has nothing to do with her. Just treat her illness. If you have any scolding words, just direct them at me." A pure girl receives a love letter for the first time. She was caught red-handed by the person beside her, seeing his little wife reading so seriously. The vinegar jar had long since overturned. After his little wife left, he fixed his eyes on the note on her desk. He originally thought about not looking, but curiosity eventually won over reason. However, after he finished reading it, he only felt his pride was hurt. He actually couldn't understand it. Meanwhile, the girl on the other side was discussing problem-solving ideas with Lin Wentao. Before leaving, the boy didn't forget to invite the girl to go to the study room together next period to do problems. Hearing this, the girl was stunned for a moment. Then Wen Yufeng's request unconsciously floated into her mind. She was only allowed to explain problems to him alone. Just as the girl was in a dilemma, a cold voice suddenly came from behind her. "Sorry, classmate. This is my exclusive teacher. Not for loan." That day, Qin Xing developed a high fever at school. Seeing this, Wen Yufeng personally carried her on his back to the infirmary. After the school doctor looked at her, prescribed some medicine for her. Before leaving, Wen Yufeng wanted to continue carrying her back to the classroom, but was refused by Qin Xing. However, even so, they still attracted the gaze of all passersby. Fortunately, the road back to the classroom wasn't long. Otherwise, Qin Qing would have really died of shame. However, when they walked to the door of the Class 6, Grade 11 classroom, they saw Teacher Shun standing on the podium. Qin Qing couldn't help but wonder, isn't this period teacher Fu's class? Why is Teacher Shun here? Shen Liang looked at the confused little expressions of the two. Naturally, he could see their puzzlement, so he opened his mouth to explain. It's like this. Your teacher Fu's liver disease acted up. He needs to be hospitalized. So, this semester, I will temporarily take over the duties of your homeroom teacher. Because it happened suddenly, we'll have physics this period. Wen Yufeng, you guys go back to your seats first. And Qin Qing, if you feel uncomfortable during class, tell the teacher. Go home early, don't force yourself. Hearing this, Qin Qing nodded obediently. Then she sat back in her original seat. However, Wen Yufeng didn't go back. Instead, he picked up Qin Qing's water cup and poured a cup of hot water for her. Before Qin Qing could say thank you, Wen Yufeng leaned in front of her first, asking if she was nearsighted. Seeing Qin Qing shake her head, the corners of Wen Yufeng's mouth raised slightly. Afterwards, he walked to Teacher Shin's side, asking him if all affairs of Class 6, Grade 11 from now on, would be his responsibility. Shen Liang was stunned at first upon hearing this. Then he raised his head with interest. He had been teaching in Class 6 for more than a year. This seemed to be the first time when Yufeng took the initiative to talk to him. Thinking of this, Shen Liang smiled and nodded, just as he was thinking about what rude request Wen Yufeng would make. The next second, he saw Wen Yufeng say seriously, Teacher Shun, I hope you can let me and Qin Qing be desk mates. As soon as these words came out, whether it was the students below or Shen Liang, they were all stunned on the spot. He didn't expect this troublemaker to make such a request. Once Shen Liang came back to his senses, he posed a soul-searching question to Wen Yufeng. Then you have to give me a suitable reason. Only then might I consider this matter. Hearing this, Wen Yufeng first looked at Shen Liang for a few seconds, then slowly spat out a few words. I hope to let Qin Qing tutor me in my homework. As soon as his voice fell, Shen Liang opened his mouth wide. He couldn't speak for a long time. After a good while, he finally couldn't help laughing. Tutor you in homework? Wen Yufeng, I've taught you for a year now. I can count the number of times you've attended my class on one hand. And just like that, you tell me you want to be your desk mate. Is it because you want her to tutor you in homework? Seeing that Teacher Shun didn't believe him, Wen Yufeng was silent for a while first. Then he turned his gaze to the girl off the stage. He didn't know since when. He had become obsessed with her. Although it would be better for someone like him to stay far away from her. But he couldn't do it. Teacher, I know very clearly what I want, so please allow it. Shen Liang looked at Wen Yufeng for a while first. The smile on his face then gradually faded. He couldn't help but sigh lightly. I also always thought you knew clearly what you wanted, but now it seems I was wrong. This period of youth, for every one of you, seems long and even tormenting, but is often the best timing. Have you really thought it through? Can you give up one thing for another person or thing and not regret or complain in the future? I've seen you many times at that shooting range before. I can also guess. Most of the time you're not at school. What are you doing? Listening to what Teacher Shun said, Wen Yufeng's gaze paused for an instant. Teacher Shun, I don't know if I will regret doing this in the future, but I know that if I don't do this, I will definitely regret it in the future. After a long time, Shen Liang finally nodded. Although I agree, I also need to ask for Qin Qing's opinion. Shen Liang didn't stop. He went directly to Qin Qing. Qin Qing, it's like this. Wen Yufeng proposed that he wants to be your desk mate, hoping you will tutor him in his homework. What is your opinion? After hearing this, Qin Qing first opened her mouth slightly. Then she looked at Wen Yufeng standing on the podium. Qin Qing was silent for a long time this time. Long enough that when Yufeng on the podium walked down, Teacher Shun, forget it. Before he could finish speaking, Qin Qing interrupted Wen Yufeng's words. Teacher, I have no objection to this matter. However, if student Wen's grades don't improve later, then teacher, please switch us back. This answer obviously satisfied Shen Liang very much. While smiling, he looked at Wen Yufeng. Wen Yufeng, did you hear what student Qin Qing said? You heard it. At this moment, Wen Yufeng's heart had already blossomed with joy. He responded softly, seeing there was nothing else. Shen Liang took his textbook and left. The morning passed quickly. In a short while, it was time for school to end. Seeing the little rabbit had packed up, Wen Yufeng picked up the girl's bag, speaking softly. Let's go. I'll walk you home. Qin Qing originally wanted to refuse, but she saw Wen Yufeng looking at her with a faint smile. Then he glanced at her lazily. How can that work? You are the guarantee for my great improvement in the future. I have to escort you safely home." At this moment, the thug duo at the back of the classroom were already dumbfounded watching this scene. Is this still the brother they knew? Just like that, the notorious bully of the whole school, carrying a girl's school bag, walking arrogantly in the hallway. Qin now just wanted to kick this bad seed. She just felt that following behind him was really losing face. Just after taking 2 steps, Qin's phone rang, seeing it was a message from her second brother to pick her up. Qin hurriedly told Wen Yufeng about this. Wen Yufeng's face instantly turned black after hearing it. Qin, do you know the marriage law? Direct relatives and collateral blood relatives within 3 generations cannot marry. So you have to keep a distance from him in the future. Hearing these words, Qin was stunned at first. Then she whispered in her heart, "Mom, my new desk mate seems to be a psycho. What should I do?" In a short while, the two arrived at the school gate. Qin had sharp eyes. She saw her second brother standing not far away at a glance. She subconsciously pulled Wen Yufeng to the side. What to do? We absolutely can't let the two of them meet. Otherwise, they will definitely fight. Seeing Qin like this, Wen Yufeng couldn't help but hook the corners of his lips. Immediately, he leaned down and blew a breath into Qin's ear. "Who are you looking at, sweetie?" Qin was concentrating on observing her second brother's movements at this moment. She was startled by this sudden voice. Instinctively, she jumped to the side, and Wen Yufeng seemed to have expected it. He scooped the girl back in one go. "Careful of exposing yourself, little classmate." A faint scent of mint tobacco rushed into her nose. Qin's face instantly turned red. She hurriedly hid to the side. "Wen Yufeng, can you give me the school bag? I'm going to find second brother." As soon as her voice fell, Wen Yufeng's face sank. He bent down, following the momentum. "Little rabbit, at this time, you shouldn't mention others in front of me." After a few seconds, he saw Qin nodding blankly. Wen Yufeng only felt a headache. Then he handed the bag to her. Qin looked slightly happy. She reached out to take it back. But just as she touched it, Wen Yufeng pulled it back. "I chased Li Xiang and the others away. Yet you let me go home alone. Then as compensation, call me brother you." Wen Yufeng's lips moved slightly. Qin froze for a moment. Her little head lowered. Looking at Qin's pitiful appearance, Wen Yufeng finally softened his heart. He let her leave. Not long after Qin left, the thug duo came over to this side. After Li Xiang saw Wen Yufeng, he stepped forward curiously to ask where the new classmate was. But before he could say 2 sentences, he was scared into silence by Brother Yu's cold eyes. After Brother Yu walked far away, Li Xiang then said to Zhao Zirwei beside him, "I've discovered it. This little girl has our Brother Yu wrapped around her finger. If you ask me, School Beauty Ling and Qi Lulu just chased too tight. That's why there were no results at all. If they were like our little classmate, playing hard to get like this, hot and cold, presumably Brother Yu would have long ago." Before he could finish, Li Xiang felt a chill down his spine. Looking back, he saw Wen Yufeng had returned at some point. At this moment, Li Xiang only felt he was done for, just as he was preparing to welcome the impending storm. However, Wen Yufeng just dropped a sentence expressionlessly. "In the future, you're not allowed to mention anything about her." Then he turned and left. Meanwhile, on the other side, Qin, who had just got into the car, was thinking about something thoughtfully. No matter how Qin Hao called her, she just didn't react. Qin Hao only felt speechless. Immediately, he raised his volume. Qin then came back to her senses. "What's wrong, second brother?" Qin Hao looked at his sister's panicked expression. He felt she must be hiding something from him. When he looked in the direction Qin was looking at earlier, he indeed discovered a clue. He saw Wen Yufeng right there. "Xiao Qing, could it be that the boy who just passed by is the one who gave you this school uniform jacket?" Hearing this, Qin first hesitated for a few seconds, then slowly nodded. Seeing this, alarm bells immediately rang in Qin Hao's heart. Really, a grown girl can't be kept at home. Can't let that bad boy poach my corner. "Xiao Qing, starting from today, I will also pick you up from school at noon." Qin was stunned at this moment. She didn't understand what was wrong recently. The two people around her seemed to be not very smart. After Qin got home, she saw Grandma had made many delicious foods for her. Just as she was preparing to taste Grandma's cooking, her phone rang. Seeing it was Zhui Ang's call, Qin immediately answered. The next second, Zhui Ang's laughter came from the other end of the phone. "Xiao Qing, I heard you became desk mates with our Wenji. Ank, how did you know?" Seeing her ask this, Zhui Ank immediately became excited. "So it's true. As for how I know, actually, it has long spread throughout the school. Almost half of the girls in the whole school like Wenji. This kind of thing naturally spreads very quickly. But Qing, you have to be careful. Many girls have fantasized about being liked by a boy like Wenji. When the other party is not themselves, they will also produce jealousy. Qing was silent for a good while after hearing this. Then she thanked Zhuang, indicating she knew. Seeing Qing understood, Zhuang breathed a sigh of relief. When Qing went to school in the afternoon, she met Fang Xiaojing. She had just finished washing her hands and was about to leave when she heard Fang Xiaojing speaking eccentrically from the side. Are you feeling particularly proud in your heart right now? Qing was slightly stunned. She looked at Fang Xiaojing. She remembered what Zhuang said at noon. So there really are many people who like Wen Yufeng. So she posed a soul-searching question to Fang Xiaojing. Do you like Wen Yufeng? Hearing this, Fang Xiaojing's smile froze first. Then she stared at Qing with wide eyes. It took her several seconds to confirm that this sentence came from the mouth of her quiet deskmate. Once she reacted, she sneered. My grades are so good. Why would I like a poor student who is always at the bottom of the class, skips classes, and fights? After saying this sentence, Fang Xiaojing regretted it. Not because of anything else. She was just worried Qing would tell Wen Yufeng these words. Then she would be dead for sure. And Qing, hearing this sentence, felt a kind of angry emotion for the first time, erupting from her body. In an instant, it gathered in her brain. From you, I know how ridiculously wrong I was before. Good or bad academic grades. Turns out it really has nothing to do with how a person is. Someone like you who doesn't even admit to liking someone and has to rely on slandering the other party to satisfy yourself. What use is it even if you study well? With the fall of these words, only Fang Xiaojing's figure was left in the restroom. She actually didn't know how to refute for a moment. Qing's appearance just now really scared her. And at this moment, Qing, who had just come out on the other side, returned to her usual submissive appearance. She didn't understand what was wrong with herself just now. Why did she become so scary? Soon she arrived at the classroom, listening to the surrounding students' discussions about herself. She didn't pay attention. She just walked straight to her seat, looking at a note on the table. Qing was slightly stunned. Opening it, she saw 4 twisted words written inside. Stay away from him. Ever since the girl got sick, she became the priority protection target of this proud boy. Not only did he stay by her side every moment, he even personally escorted her when she went to the restroom. This amazed all the classmates present. We're just saying, is it necessary to be so lovey-dovey? We haven't even had breakfast yet. Just like that, under his meticulous care, Qing's cold got better in a few days. And after Qing recovered, she had been thinking about how to repay Wen Yufeng's kindness. She originally thought about buying Wen Yufeng some snacks, but seeing that he usually didn't eat snacks, she gave up on this idea. Finally, she decided to give him a set of mock exam papers to let him study hard. But just as Qing was preparing to give it to him during evening self-study, she found that Wen Yufeng was nowhere to be seen. This inevitably made her a bit puzzled. She remembered that the rascal had been very active in coming these past few days. What happened today? Could he have encountered some danger? However, just as Qing was lost in thought, Wen Yufeng had arrived beside her at some point. He even gently blew air into her ear. This action scared Qing quite a bit, feeling the residual warmth on her ear. She immediately blushed unconsciously. She decided that from now on, she would ignore this rascal. To think she was worried about his safety just a moment ago. He is just a big baddie. Wen Yufeng, seeing this little bunny get angry, couldn't help but curl his lips slightly. He didn't coax Qing as usual. Instead, he just watched her quietly. Just like that, an unknown amount of time passed. Qing finally turned her head to look at him. Qing originally wanted to scold this rascal, but looking at his clear eyes, she momentarily didn't know what to say. For a moment, the atmosphere between the two fell into silence. To cover up the earlier awkwardness, Qing gave the prepared mock papers to Wen Yufeng. She even pretended to scold him strictly. Who promised me 2 days ago to study hard? You skipped class today, so finish these mock papers. You're not allowed to go home until you finish. Hearing this, Wen Yufeng just nodded with a light smile. He just wanted to pinch Qing's cheek right now. She was really so cute. However, he didn't do that. Instead, he obediently took Qing's pen and started doing the exercises. But before he could finish the questions, the back door of the classroom was kicked open. Brother you, how can you be writing questions here right now? Did classmate Qing make you? But before he could finish his sentence, he was interrupted by Wen Yufeng's, "Shut up. Li Xiang, let's go outside and talk." Just like that, Qin Qing watched them leave the classroom with a puzzled look. But before Wen Yufeng and the others went far, Qin Qing's phone rang. When she opened it to look, she found it was a message from Zhui Ank. Qin Qing, I heard Wen got surrounded by punks from number 3 middle school today at noon. It said someone ambushed Wen. Is he okay now? Looking at this message, Qin Qing felt her head buzzing. The next second, she ran out the door without a word. Meanwhile, on the other side, Wen Yufeng was educating his group of underlings. Among those people this afternoon, most of them went to the hospital with me. They're still lying in the hospital right now. How else do you want to take revenge? Listening to Brother Yu's words, Li Xiang was still a bit indignant. Seeing him even pull out a knife, Wen Yufeng punched him without a word. Li Xiang originally thought Brother Yu was hitting him. But who would have thought? The one he hit was Zhao Zirwei next to him. Do you know why I hit you? I told you long ago. Li Xiang is impulsive and prone to mistakes. You must watch him when you are by his side. But what did you do? And Li Xiang, you better calm down for me. If you're still like this in the future, then get out of here early. After Wen Yufeng finished saying this, he left the place. The surrounding underlings were all scared by Wen's punch just now, daring not to breathe loudly. And the delinquent duo among them also knew fear. Li Xiang, do you remember which hand Brother you used to hit me just now? Hearing this, Li Xiang stopped instantly. What's wrong, Zirwei? Do you want to fight back? But before he could finish, he remembered that Brother Yu used his right hand to hit someone earlier. But wasn't his right hand just stitched up this afternoon? He used so much force in that punch earlier. Could he have popped the stitches? Meanwhile, in the restroom of Class 6, just as Li Xiang guessed, Wen Yufeng's arm, which was just stitched this afternoon, had its stitches pop because of that punch earlier. The arm was bleeding a lot. Just as Wen Yufeng was in pain and didn't know what to do, Qin Qing found him. Hearing Qin Qing's voice, Wen Yufeng instantly lost his calm. He hurriedly hid his injured arm behind his back. He was still saying he would finish her papers in a while. But when he met Qin Qing's gaze, he found her eyes were red, as if she had just cried. Seeing this scene, Wen Yufeng got angry on the spot. He thought Qin Qing was bullied by someone, just as he wanted to ask Qin Qing who bullied her. Unexpectedly, the next second, Qin Qing pulled out the arm he was hiding behind his back. Because the wound hadn't been treated, Wen Yufeng's arm right now was very scary. After witnessing all this, Qin Qing was already sobbing uncontrollably. Seeing her like this, Wen Yufeng couldn't help but sigh in his heart. This was the first time he saw Qin Qing cry like this. Although she was crying for him, for some reason, he still felt a bit uncomfortable in his heart. Just as Wen Yufeng was thinking about coaxing his little wife, Qin Qing left the place first. She was saying he should wait downstairs first while she went to ask Teacher Shun for leave. Hearing this, Wen Yufeng couldn't help but be slightly stunned, until Qin Qing's back completely disappeared. Did a smile finally appear on Wen Yufeng's originally tense face? But by the time Qin Qing got the leave and brought Wen Yufeng to the clinic, it was already late at night. The clinic at this time had long since gotten off work. There were very few people inside, but when they came to the clinic's waiting area, there sat a few middle-aged men reeking of alcohol. Two of the drunks seemed to notice Qin Qing's gaze. They looked up and revealed lecherous smiles at Qin Qing. But before Qin Qing could react, Wen Yufeng blocked Qin Qing's eyes first. He also glared fiercely at those men. Perhaps Wen Yufeng's fierce aura scared those people, so they didn't dare to act rashly. Then Wen Yufeng took Qin Qing inside. There was only one doctor in the clinic, but when she saw Wen Yufeng's wound, she couldn't help but be slightly amazed. However, she didn't ask much. Instead, she asked Qin Qing to go out first while she stitched him up. But as soon as her voice fell, Wen Yufeng couldn't help but frown. He remembered there was a group of drunks outside. He couldn't let his little wife stay outside alone. But how could he make her stay? But before Wen Yufeng could think much, Qin Qing stood up preparing to leave. Seeing time was running out, Wen Yufeng didn't care about much else. He directly grabbed Qin Qing's wrist and acted spoiled. Qin Qing, I'm scared, so can you stay here and accompany me? Hearing this, the two people standing aside were confused. Seeing this, the doctor nodded helplessly. During the subsequent stitching work, Qin Qing stayed by Wen Yufeng's side the whole time. Looking at Wen Yufeng's painful expression, she could only give him her hand to squeeze. But Wen Yufeng didn't seem satisfied. The next second, he hugged Qin Qing. At first, Qin Qing wanted to struggle free. But hearing Wen Yufeng's pained voice, her heart softened again. So she went along with Wen Yufeng. Then she patted his head. The stitching time seemed particularly long for Qin Qing. Towards the end, Wen Yufeng hugged her tighter. At the same time, his body trembled slightly. This action scared Qin Qing badly. She immediately asked Wen Yufeng if it hurt. Hearing this, Wen Yufeng just shook his head with a light smile. Seeing him like this, Qin Qing's eyes unconsciously turned red again. After a while, she rolled up her sleeve. With a shocked expression from Wen Yufeng, she extended her arm in front of him. She even said if he was in pain, he could bite her. Looking at her cute appearance, Wen Yufeng couldn't help but curl his lips slightly. He just chuckled lightly for 2 seconds, then returned to his original state. Immediately, he held Qin Qing's hand and placed it in front of his face. At first, Qin Qing was scared, but she waited for a long time without feeling any pain. Only then did she dare to open her eyes. As soon as she opened her eyes, she saw Wen Yufeng kissing her wrist. This really confused Qin Qing. She didn't understand what this rascal was doing. But before she could ask, Wen Yufeng's stitches were already done. As if he knew what Qin Qing would ask, he dragged Qin Qing away from there without a word. But just as they walked out, Qin Qing's phone rang. When Qin Qing took it out to look, the name Qin Hao appeared on it. Qin Qing answered the phone guiltily. As soon as it connected, Qin Hao's roaring voice came from inside, asking where she was now. When Qin Hao learned that Qin Qing was accompanying a classmate to see a doctor at the clinic, his suspended heart finally settled down. Xiao Qing, stay right there. I'm coming to pick you up now. But before Qin Qing could refuse, Qin Hao hung up the phone first. This left Qin Qing speechless. And Wen Yufeng on the side had already heard their conversation. He just silently guarded Qin Qing's side. By the time Qin Qing's second brother drove over, Wen Yufeng, in order not to make things difficult for Qin Qing, had already hidden behind a tree trunk not far away. At first, Wen Yufeng thought Qin Qing would get in the car and leave directly. But after waiting for a long time, he saw she wasn't in a hurry to get in the car. Instead, she ran towards his direction again. This made Wen Yufeng, standing not far away, immediately panic. He didn't understand what Qin Qing was doing. But before he could ask, Qin Qing grabbed his arm first. She was saying he should go home with her. Hearing this, Wen Yufeng didn't refuse. He just smiled with curled lips. Afterwards, he let his little wife pull him to the car. And Qin Hao, who witnessed all this from the side, his face had already turned dark. He wished he could kill this brat right now. It was just that Qin Hao's gaze was too sharp. Qin Qing glared at him as soon as she came up. Second brother, if you don't want to give him a ride, I'll take a taxi home with my classmate. Hearing this, Qin Hao immediately lost his temper. He could only helplessly let them get in the car. In an instant, the inside of the car fell into dead silence. And Wen Yufeng, sitting in the back row, didn't feel uncomfortable. He just pursed his lips and smiled. Then he softly called out second brother. Although it was just a simple greeting, to Qin Hao's ears, this was a provocation. You little brat, who are you calling second brother? He originally wanted to say something, but seeing his sister still in the car, he dispelled this thought. Because the hospital wasn't far from Qin Qing's home, so in a short while, they arrived downstairs at Qin Qing's home. Initially, Qin Hao wanted to drop Qin Qing off first, then properly educate that brat. But who would have thought that rabbit rascal also lived here? At this moment, Qin Hao completely exploded. He got out of the car directly and stared viciously at Wen Yufeng. His gloomy face scared Qin Qing quite a bit. This was the first time she saw second brother with this expression. Although she was very scared now, she still mustered up the courage to protect Wen Yufeng behind her. Second brother, he still has an injury on his hand. Don't scare him. Hearing this, Qin Hao's heart shattered all over the floor. Damn, with his appearance, can I scare him? He originally wanted to say something, but looking at his sister's protective stance, he had no choice now. He could only leave a warning and left the place. Qin Qing watched the vehicle gradually moving away. Her suspended heart finally settled down. Afterwards, she got into the elevator with Wen Yufeng. However, during this time, they didn't speak until the elevator opened. It was pitch black outside. Qin Qing then subconsciously called out Wen Yufeng's name. But unexpectedly, as soon as her voice fell, Wen Yufeng cornered her. Sweetie, you should be afraid of me. Hearing this, Qin Qing was first stunned. She didn't understand what this rascal was saying. But before she could ask, Wen Yufeng held her hand and brought her to her door. After ringing the doorbell for her, he turned and left. Qin Qing was full of doubts at this moment. She originally wanted to ask something, but she was afraid Grandma would misunderstand, so she gave up. Until she closed the door, Wen Yufeng, not far away, finally breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, he restrained himself earlier. Otherwise, he really didn't know what terrible things would happen. Just as when Yufeng was rejoicing that he didn't do anything, his house door was suddenly pushed open. This scared Wen Yufeng quite a bit. He immediately stared at the room vigilantly. But when he saw the figure leaning against the doorframe clearly, Wen Yufeng's pupils couldn't help but shrink slightly. "Little uncle, why are you here?" Meanwhile, on the other side, Qin Shing, who just got home, smelled a strong aroma of food, especially the smell of chicken porridge. Looking at this porridge, the figure of that rascal unconsciously appeared in Qin Shing's mind. She thought that rascal probably hadn't eaten either, so she asked Grandma for a lunchbox, preparing to take some to that rascal. Hearing this, Grandma Qin, she was slightly stunned at first, but when she saw the pleading look in Qin Shing's eyes, she didn't refuse. Afterward, Qin Shing happily took the porridge and went to Wen Yufeng's door. But when she knocked, the person who opened the door wasn't Wen Yufeng, but a strange man. Qin Shing was confused for a moment. She remembered Grandma once saying, "Didn't this bad boy always live alone? Then who is this stranger?" But before Qin Shing could recover, Wen Jing swept a glance over her first. Seeing that she was here to deliver food, he didn't stop her. Instead, he led her directly into the living room. "Wait here for a moment. Wen Yufeng will be out soon. I have something to do, so I'm leaving first." Hearing this, Qin Shing nodded in agreement. It wasn't until the man's figure disappeared into the kitchen doorway that Qin Shing belatedly came back to her senses. Wasn't he leaving? What is he doing in the kitchen? This instantly piqued Qin Shing's curiosity. She had originally intended to restrain herself, but after waiting for a long time without that man coming out, driven by curiosity, she finally walked to the kitchen door. However, when she looked inside, her face immediately froze. The kitchen was empty, with only an open window. This terrified Qin Shing, and she immediately ran towards the living room. But unexpectedly, before she had taken 2 steps, she bumped into Wen Yufeng, who had just come out. The sudden appearance of a figure startled the girl, and she burst into tears on the spot. Looking at the little wife, crying in front of him, he only found it funny. "Little rabbit, are you that afraid of me?" Hearing this familiar voice, the girl gradually calmed down. Afterward, she wanted to get up and turn on the light, but her wrist was grabbed by the person beside her. "Little rabbit, I'm not wearing any clothes. Do you want to see that badly?" As soon as these words came out, Qin Shing seemed to realize something, and her small face flushed red on the spot. But before Wen Yufeng could continue teasing her, Qin Shing had already put down the lunchbox in her hand and fled the place. Before leaving, she didn't forget to call him a bad boy. Hearing this, Wen Yufeng didn't get angry. Instead, he waited until the little rabbit's figure completely disappeared behind the door before he dared to cover his mouth and snicker. Meanwhile, on the other side, Qin Shing was hiding alone in her bedroom, secretly cursing Wen Yufeng. She had originally thought she would properly lecture that bad boy the next day. But who would have thought? Wen Yufeng actually took leave for 2 straight weeks. This made Qin Shing, who was already in a bad mood, feel even worse. All morning at school, Qin Shing was absent-minded, partly because of the bad boy taking leave, and partly because she was thinking about how to avoid her second brother's ideological education later. She thought she wouldn't encounter anything unluckier this morning. But who could have imagined that before she even walked out of the school gate, she was surrounded by a group of girls? "So you are Qin Shing. I really don't know what brother you sees in you. You look just average. Classmate, I'm just passing on a message for someone. I advise you to consciously stay away from brother you. Otherwise, the consequences will be miserable." Facing the threats of these girls, Qin Shing did not feel afraid. Instead, she frowned unhappily. "Was that note left on my desk a few days ago from you guys?" As soon as these words came out, the 3 girls laughed out loud on the spot. "Looks like you're quite smart, not a useless little bean sprout." Seeing them admit it, Qin Shing didn't hold back anymore. She directly retorted, "Senior, whether I'm smart or not, I'm afraid you're not qualified to judge." Hearing this, the 3 girls were truly surprised. They didn't expect this seemingly weak and obedient girl to dare speak to them like this. The girl in the lead was obviously angry, just as she was about to raise her hand to teach Qin Shing a lesson. She was blocked by Qin Shing's phone. "If you had investigated me beforehand, you should know. My second brother comes to pick me up at the school gate every day. Just before I left, I already asked him to come directly to the classroom area. I admit I can't beat you guys, but my second brother has always had a bad temper. When he arrives, I guarantee you will regret coming here today." As soon as these words came out, the leading girl's expression changed immediately. The hand she had just raised dropped back down. Fine. Anyway, I see Wen Yufeng hasn't shown his face since yesterday. Being desk mates with you might just be a whim of his. Be careful, little classmate. We will meet again. After saying these words, the leading girl took her group and left directly. Watching their retreating figures, Qin Xing finally let down her guard. But before Qin Xing could relax, another boy's voice came from behind. So the thing between you and Wen Yufeng is fake. Hearing this, Qin Xing was first startled by the voice. Then she turned her gaze towards the direction of the sound. It was a boy with dyed purple hair. His features were very delicate, and he often wore a smile on his face. Looking at this boy, Qin Xing's tense little face softened. Do you know me? Hearing this, the boy smiled at her first. Classmate Qin Xing, who in number 1 middle school, doesn't know you. Those girls just now might be waiting for you at the intersection or somewhere else. I'm leaving now, too. If you don't mind, we can walk together. Hearing this, Qin Xing hesitated for a few seconds, but in the end, she agreed to the boy's request. She walked out the tree-lined path with him, seeing that she had safely reached the school gate. A smile gradually appeared on her face. But just as she wanted to say goodbye to the boy spoke first. Qin Xing, my name is Lin Wentao. After the division into arts and sciences classes, I believe we will meet in the same class. Hearing this, Qin Xing couldn't help but widen her eyes. But before she could ask, Lin Wentao had already left dashingly. Qin Xing recalled what he had said earlier, and couldn't help but space out slightly. She didn't understand how this boy knew which class she was going to choose. However, she didn't think too much about it and walked straight towards her second brother's car. In the time that followed, Qin Xing's life seemed very plain. She still dominated the top spot in the grade 24/7 as usual. But Wen Yufeng's figure was nowhere to be seen beside her. This made Qin Xing's mood inevitably a bit low. She didn't understand what this bad boy was doing. It's been so many days. Why hasn't he come to class yet? Could it be true, as those girls said, that she was just a passing whim? Qin Xing had originally planned to go look for that bad boy on Saturday night. But unexpectedly, as soon as she went upstairs, she bumped into Wen Yufeng, who was standing aside with his head down. Seeing him, Qin Xing was very happy in her heart. She asked if he was waiting for her. Unexpectedly, Wen Yufeng just expressionlessly shook the lunchbox in his hand, saying he was just here to return the lunchbox. As soon as these words came out, it immediately extinguished Qin Xing's enthusiasm. Seeing that this bad boy didn't want to pay attention to her, she also decided to ignore him. But before she could take 2 steps, Wen Yufeng's cold voice rang out again. Where did you go this afternoon? Hearing this, Qin Xing simply replied, amusement park. But who would have expected that after hearing this, Wen Yufeng asked who she went with? As soon as this sentence came out, it was like a fuse, directly igniting all the grievances Qin Xing had felt these past few days. Wen Yufeng, I don't need you to care. Do you hate me that much? Avoiding me all the time, not even going to school? Since you hate me so much, why did you become desk mates with me in the first place? Hearing this, Wen Yufeng momentarily didn't know how to reply to Qin Xing. Just when Wen Yufeng didn't know how to coax his little wife to be happy, Grandma Qin walked out upon hearing the noise. Tian, why are you just standing there and not coming home? Did something happen? Hearing this, Qin Xing was like a startled little rabbit, shaking her head guiltily, indicating she just wanted to get a lunchbox. Hearing about the lunchbox, Grandma Qin then noticed the boy behind Qin Xing. She didn't ask Wen Yufeng any strange questions, but kindly asked him if the porridge she made was good. Hearing this, Wen Yufeng was slightly stunned for a moment, then gave Grandma Qin a hearty smile, saying that the porridge Grandma Qin made was delicious, and he didn't waste a single drop. Wen Yufeng's words amused Grandma Qin, and even Qin Xing beside her couldn't help but widen her eyes. Is this still the Wen Yufeng she knows? Why is his mouth so sweet? But before Qin Xing could think much, she saw Grandma already starting to invite Wen Yufeng into the house. This completely confused Qin Xing. She remembered Grandma complaining before about Wen Yufeng provoking young girls everywhere. What happened today? Why is she actively inviting him home? Just like that, Qin Xing followed them home. She originally thought Wen Yufeng was just coming to her house for a simple meal. But unexpectedly, after he finished eating, he started clearing the table and washing the dishes. This made Qin Xing almost not recognize him. Watching this bad boy's dishwashing movements, it was obviously not his first time doing this. No wonder he was so uncomfortable before and after the meal. Probably he hasn't eaten with family for many years. During every festival, does he also stay alone in that cold room like this? Qin couldn't bear to think about what happened next. She didn't know why, but she felt a pain in her chest now. Meanwhile, in the kitchen on the other side, Wen Yufeng was receiving praise from Grandma Qin. Xiaoyu, you wash dishes much cleaner than our Tian Tian. The bowls our Tian Tian washes are like a kitten washing its face. Just a quick swipe with a paw, and it's done. Hearing this, Wen Yufeng couldn't help but curl his lips slightly. Thinking of his little wife's comical dishwashing movements, he couldn't help but snicker. However, he didn't forget to smooth things over for his little wife. Grandma Qin, Tiantian's hands are too small to hold the bowls. You should keep her away from the kitchen, lest she breaks the bowls. Although their voices were low, they still reached Qin's ears nearby. Hearing these words, Qin couldn't help but feel a little angry. Who is this bad boy saying has small hands? And who would break dishes? I'm clearly very capable. Okay? Just like that, as time passed, by the time when Yufeng finished washing the dishes and left Qin's house, it was already late at night. After Wen Yufeng left, Qin finally couldn't help but ask Grandma the doubt in her heart. Grandma, why are you so good to him? Grandma Qin was obviously a bit dissatisfied with her words, and couldn't help but give Qin a reproachful look. Tian, how pitiful is this child? Living alone. What's wrong with me inviting him for a meal? Also, when you were little, you couldn't take your eyes off a stray dog. How come you have no compassion now? Hearing Grandma's words, Qin immediately showed an innocent look. Grandma, but didn't you say before that he must be someone who often provokes young girls at school? But before Qin could finish speaking, Grandma interrupted her first. Tian, that was before I met him. Now that I've met him, Grandma has lived for so many years. I'm very accurate at judging people. This child is definitely not the kind of person you said. Hearing this, Qin was instantly confused. She didn't understand how these words became something she said. This gave Qin a headache. She originally wanted to say something more to Grandma, but the phone beside her rang untimely. When she picked it up to look, it was a call from manhwa. Xiao, I've already planned where to play tomorrow. I'll come pick you up in the afternoon. You're not allowed to break the promise. Hearing this, Qin first indicated that she would go, then asked where they were going to play tomorrow afternoon. But unexpectedly, manhwa didn't tell her, saying it's a secret before hanging up the phone. This completely piqued Qin's interest, making her sleep poorly all night. Seeing that Sunday afternoon finally arrived, who would have expected that the place manhwa took her to was actually a KTV? This made Qin a bit angry. But she had no choice now. Seeing that they were already here, she thought she would just go in and take a look. But unexpectedly, as soon as she entered the door, she was stopped by the security guard at the entrance. Sorry, children cannot come here. Hearing this, Qin only felt her self-esteem was hurt. Does she really look that much like a child? Seeing this, Lin manhwa beside her also laughed unceremoniously, bending over. Finally, under Qin's glare, she explained to the security guard, this is my classmate. She is already in the second year of high school. Also, she is Brother Yu's deskmate. If you don't let us in, I won't be responsible if Brother Yu comes to settle the score with you later. As soon as these words came out, the security guard's expression changed immediately, and he opened the door to let them in. Once inside, Lin manhwa took Qin to their private room. It was filled with many boys and girls, and sitting among them was the former class monitor, Fu Hanlin, who had confessed to Qin last semester. This made Qin feel very uncomfortable. But before Qin could think much, Lin manhwa beside her reminded her to look opposite. Isn't that Wen Yufeng? Hearing this, Qin was like a startled little rabbit, scared to look up. She didn't want to run into that bad boy here. Maybe she should just run away. But before Qin could plan her escape route, Wen Yufeng's gaze met hers first, the pure-hearted school bully encountered the biggest crisis in history. It turned out that the first time he secretly went to an internet cafe, he was caught by his own little wife. This made the originally domineering school bully so scared that he almost wet his pants. He originally thought his little wife would come up to question him, but unexpectedly, the little wife acted as if nothing was wrong and didn't even glance at him. This made him, who was already prone to jealousy, immediately overturn the vinegar jar. Why isn't the little wife paying attention to me? Does she not love me anymore? Meanwhile, Qin Qing, sitting opposite him, looked bewildered. She wondered what kind of madness this rascal was up to again. He clearly took 2 weeks of leave from school, yet here he is at the bar. Does he really not want to see me that much? Qin Qing didn't know why, but she just felt a bit aggrieved in her heart. Her best friend beside her didn't notice her change in mood and was still swooning over him. Xiao Qing, look, isn't Wen Yufeng particularly handsome? Seemingly not getting the response she wanted, Lin Manhua curiously looked at Qin Qing beside her. As soon as she turned her head, she met Qin Qing's aggrieved little expression. This gave Lin Manhua quite a fright. She hurriedly asked about Qin Qing's condition. Perhaps because she was scared, Lin Manhua's voice was a bit loud, and naturally, it reached the ears of Wen Yufeng at the neighboring table. Wen Yufeng immediately turned his gaze toward them, seeing that his little wife was fine. His suspended heart finally settled down. However, Wen Yufeng's action was noticed by a girl at the next table. She subsequently reminded Lin Manhua beside her, telling her to keep her voice down as that one for number 1 middle school was looking over. At the mention of number 1 middle school, the people at the table immediately got excited. They remembered that Qin Qing was also from number 1 middle school, so they all asked if she knew Wen Yufeng, attempting to get to know the famous one through her. Hearing their words, Qin Qing couldn't help but tighten her small hands. Then she hurriedly shook her head, indicating that she didn't know him. If she knew Wen Yufeng, he would have come over to greet her just now. Once this was said, everyone evidently believed Qin Qing's words, and they all nodded in agreement. After this small interlude passed, Sun Wan at the table suggested everyone play a game of adventure. She stated that whoever the bottle mouth pointed to would have to choose a member of the opposite sex from the neighboring table to drink with. Hearing this, the crowd immediately got interested. Qin Qing, who was among them, reached out and pulled Lin Manhua, preparing to take Manhua and leave. Seeing this, Manhua immediately used a guilt trip tactic on Qin Qing. Xiao Qing, how about this? Once this game is over, we'll leave, okay? Looking at Manhua's pitiful appearance, Qin Qing could only helplessly agree. Just like that, the game quickly began. In the first round, the bottle pointed to a girl quite far from Qin Qing. This made Qin Qing, who was playing this kind of game for the first time, instinctively sigh in relief. Seeing that the first lucky person was chosen, the crowd started teasing her to go offer a toast. That girl wasn't timid either. She took the wine directly to Wen Yufeng, and Wen Yufeng didn't refuse. He drank the strong liquor in the glass in one gulp, then calmly placed the glass into the hand of the girl who invited him. The first girl's success in offering a drink gave the subsequent girls great confidence. Just like that, after several rounds, aside from the boys' invitations, the girls' drinks were, without exception, all directed at Wen Yufeng. What amazed everyone was that Wen Yufeng hadn't refused even once from start to finish. Watching all this, Qin Qing was already clutching her skirt tightly, seeing that everyone was cheering to start the next round. Qin Qing finally couldn't hold back anymore and stood up abruptly. Perhaps Qin Qing's movement was a bit large, startling everyone. But Qin Qing didn't care about that and indicated she wanted to leave. Lin Manhua, hearing this, quickly grabbed Qin Qing's wrist and acted coquettishly. Xiao Qing, let's just finish the next round before leaving, okay? Qin Qing looked at Manhua's pitiful look, and perhaps not wanting to argue with her, she gently nodded in agreement. She thought that since it was only a 1 in 10 probability, and they had played so many rounds before, one more round wouldn't matter. But half a minute later, when the bottle pointed right at Qin Qing, she was completely dumbfounded. She now only wanted to travel back half a minute in time and drag her past self straight out of the bar. But it was too late for regrets now. After a burst of laughter from the crowd, Lin Manhua handed 2 glasses of wine to Qin Qing. Although Qin Qing said she couldn't drink, the crowd didn't intend to let her off. By the time Qin Qing slowly walked toward the neighboring table, several minutes had passed. The boys at the next table were all sizing up this petite girl, while Qin Qing looked at them with a face full of anxiety. Finally, Qin Qing mustered up the courage to stand in front of Wen Yufeng. But seeing his barely conscious state, she ultimately didn't have the heart to make him drink more. So, she swallowed back all the words she had prepared. Qin Qing gripped the glass tightly, summoned her courage, and looked up at the others. Finally, Qin Qing locked her gaze onto a man with a refined temperament. Seeing the girl walk in another direction, the others could only shake their heads helplessly, thinking this little girl was too naive to actually go to Sun Chifeng. He was the most manipulative person here. But Qin Xing knew nothing about this. She had already quietly walked up to that man and handed the wine glass over. Sun Qifeng looked at Qin Xing's trembling appearance and couldn't help but chuckle softly. Then he nodded with a smile, indicating no problem. However, he had a condition. Qin Xing had to sit beside him to drink. As soon as these words came out, Qin Xing was stunned for a moment, but eventually could only helplessly agree. But just as Qin Xing handed the wine over, who would have expected Sun Qifeng to lunge directly toward Qin Xing? This action scared manhwa, who was not far away. But just as Sun Qifeng was about to touch Qin Xing, a cold voice rang out, "Dare touch her and see what happens." As soon as these words were spoken, everyone present couldn't help but freeze, including Qin Xing. She remembered that this rascal had pretended not to know her earlier. But before Qin Xing could think much more, Wen Yufeng had already arrived in front of Sun Qifeng. Sun Qifeng looked at the drunk Wen Yufeng before him and didn't take his words seriously, still maintaining that leaning posture. "Brother, are you snatching food? But this little girl ran from you to me. Since you couldn't keep her, isn't it a bit unsightly to do this now?" Wen Yufeng didn't speak. His eyes only held a cold emotion. The next second, he grabbed Sun Qifeng's tie and lifted him straight up. But Sun Qifeng wasn't a pushover either. Completely unafraid, he started mocking Wen Yufeng directly. "What, want to fight? If you weren't relying on that family name, I wouldn't know what right you have to be so proud." Hearing this, Wen Yufeng looked at Sun Qifeng with an even colder gaze, as if he would tear him apart the next second. "Sun Qifeng, I don't need any qualifications. I can cripple you with just one hand. Come and try if you have guts." Once these words were out, Sun Qifeng finally knew fear. In their circle, everyone knew that after the fierce and proud wolf raised by the Wen family established his own path, the eldest son just happened to bring back the little wolf cub lost outside. Although this little wolf cub still refused to go home, everyone knew he carried the label of the Wen family's eldest grandson. Even if the Wen family had exiled him now, they dared not provoke him easily. Moreover, he still had that special forces little uncle. If one were really targeted by this vicious wolf, even if it ended in mutual destruction, probably no one could seek justice for him. Thinking of this, Sun Qifeng could only suppress the anger in his heart and find a random excuse to leave. Just like that, in this small corner, only Qin Xing and Wen Yufeng remained. Wen Yufeng didn't linger. He leaned directly in front of Qin Xing, asking her why she wanted to find someone else. Hearing this, Qin Xing clearly looked a bit panicked, but before she could open her mouth to explain, she was interrupted by Wen Yufeng saying, "Come here." Facing this completely unsmiling Wen Yufeng, Qin Xing felt he was a bit unfamiliar, and that "come here" also puzzled her. As time passed, seeing that Qin Xing still made no move, but kept looking at him with those clear eyes, Wen Yufeng, whose reason was already numbed by alcohol, grew impatient waiting. So he directly wrapped his arm around Qin Xing's waist. Because it happened too suddenly, Qin Xing instinctively froze for a moment. She also failed to control the 2 glasses of wine in her hand, so the glasses used for the toast spilled all over Wen Yufeng. But this splash of wine didn't restore Wen Yufeng's reason. He maintained that leaning posture. "Qin Xing, you spilled wine on my clothes. How do you plan to make up for the mistake?" This question stumped Qin Xing. After a while, Qin Xing actually rolled up her sleeves and moved closer. "Let me wipe it for you." Just like that, Qin Xing's small hands moved on Wen Yufeng. This immediately made it impossible for Wen Yufeng to stay calm. He directly held Qin Xing's chin with his hand and leaned in close. Seeing his lips getting closer and closer to hers, she unconsciously closed her eyes. But the next second, the girl felt her shoulders sink. He actually fell asleep leaning on her just like that. This made the girl quite angry. She thought, can't this rascal stay awake a little longer? We were so close to kissing. Although Qin Xing felt a little unwilling in her heart, she couldn't bear to leave the rascal here alone. Just as Qin Xing was thinking about how to get Wen Yufeng home, the hotel management staff approached her. "Hello, Miss Qin. I am Brother Yu's friend, Qiaoan. Do you need my help?" Hearing this, Qin Xing was stunned for a few seconds, then told him about her situation. After some friendly communication, Qiao made a phone call. Afterward, he called over another friend, and together they pulled Wen Yufeng into a black sedan. After settling Wen Yufeng's matters, Qiao came back to Qin Xing's side, wanted to find someone to drive them home. But before he could finish speaking, Qin Xing politely declined him, stating that it wasn't necessary to go to such trouble. and that they could go home by themselves. As an old fox who frequented social scenes, how could Xiaoan not see the wariness these two little girls had toward him? So he didn't insist. After saying some polite formalities, he left. As soon as the sedan drove away, Lin Manhwa immediately revealed her gossipy nature. Xiao Qing, did you know Wen Yufeng beforehand? And your relationship isn't ordinary. But before she could finish all her questions, Qin Qing used hailing a taxi as an excuse, trying to gloss over the matter. But unexpectedly, her trick didn't work and was seen through by the sharp Manhwa at a glance. In the end, Qin Qing had to tell her about the matter between her and Wen Yufeng. By the time Qin Qing returned home, it was already late at night. Perhaps due to her biological clock, as soon as Qin Qing returned to her bedroom, she fell asleep immediately. The next morning, Qin Qing arrived at the classroom early to recite texts, as usual. But just before the first class started, Wen Yufeng, who was supposed to be on leave for 2 weeks, actually entered the classroom under everyone's gaze. This scene instantly attracted everyone's attention, including the math teacher, Shun Liang. Wen Yufeng, didn't you ask for leave? Why are you back in less than a week? Hearing this, Wen Yufeng wasn't nervous. Instead, he gave the teacher a lazy smile. Teacher Shun, counting the time, I even missed the first monthly exam. I have to hurry back to study. Lest Teacher Shun gives my seat away. Upon hearing this, Shun Liang's face immediately darkened. However, he didn't say anything to Wen Yufeng, only sighing lightly and letting him return to his seat. Probably because Wen Yufeng hadn't bullied his little wife for a long time. As soon as he walked to Qin Qing's side, he leaned in close to her. Sweetie, why didn't you wait for me this morning? From the moment when Yufeng entered the classroom, Qin Qing had noticed this rascal. She had been thinking about how this person would explain what he did to her yesterday. But Qin Qing never expected that this rascal would actually start by interrogating her. This was truly the legendary guilty party filing the suit first. However, Qin Qing didn't show weakness either. As soon as Wen Yufeng finished speaking, she immediately retorted, "It was you who called a stop last time." Hearing this, Wen Yufeng first raised his eyebrows slightly, then revealed a wicked smile. Sweetie, I was waiting for you in the elevator since 7 o'clock this morning. If you weren't deliberately avoiding me, how could we not have met? Hearing this, Qin Qing felt she was about to die of anger. So this rascal had been playing her all along. However, before the two could continue bickering, the class bell rang. Shun Liang stood on the podium, put down the exam papers he was holding, and then looked at the whole class with a smile. In this monthly exam, our class has shown improvement compared to the first year of high school, whether in math scores or the average score of all subjects. Besides the collective progress of the classmates, I want to specifically praise 2 contributors here. One is our student Qin Qing. Everyone surely knows. Student Qin Qing is once again first in our grade. As soon as these words landed, even the classmates who knew about it couldn't help but marvel. After a round of applause, Teacher Shin smoothly revealed the name of the second contributor. As for the second contributor in our class, that is naturally student Wen Yufeng. As soon as this was said, everyone, including Wen Yufeng, raised their heads in shock. On the podium, Shun Liang continued to smile. Students must be wondering why I say this. It is because when Yufeng asked for leave and missed the exam, his scores were not entered into the system. This is why our class average was able to improve so much. Coolme. Let us also applaud for student Wen Yufeng. In an instant, the classroom fell into silence. Many students were suppressing their laughter. Yet still, not a single person dared to applaud. Just like that, an unknown amount of time passed. In a corner of the classroom, a soft clapping sound rang out. This instantly attracted the gaze of the entire class. Everyone was thinking about who was so brave. To give teacher Shin a way out, they didn't even care about their life. And at the same time, the person clapping was none other than Qin Qing. When Yufeng gazed at that silly girl, his dark eyes brightening involuntarily. Then when Yufeng turned his gaze back and also raised his hands, under the shocked gazes of the whole class, he clapped along with Qin Qing, his expression lazy. After the clapping incident ended, math class officially kicked off. Although it had been nearly a week since Qin Qing moved her seat to the back row, sitting at the same desk with Wen Yufeng for class was still first. After observing for most of the class, Wen Yufeng discovered that the reason his little wife had such good grades was probably really due to her IQ. From the start of this class, half the time was spent by his little wife spacing out. During class, Shunliang would usually give the students a halftime break. It was used to relieve the mental strain of the lesson. And just then, when Yufeng couldn't suppress his curiosity, he leaned into Qin Qing's ear and asked why she wasn't listening. Qin Qing turned her small face in astonishment, clearly confused about how she was discovered when she was hiding it so well. How was she still spotted by this bad guy? Wen Yufeng seemed to see her confusion and couldn't help snickering. He kindly explained the reason to her. Although you were looking forward the whole time, your eyes were completely vacant, like a rabbit squatting in a trap waiting for someone to pounce on it. Hearing this explanation, Qin Qing couldn't help sticking out her tongue. Actually, it's because Teacher Shin speaks too slowly. I really want to focus too, but I know what he's going to say next. That's why my mind wanders. Hearing these words, Wen Yufeng was stunned for a few seconds, then laughed out loud. Seeing this bad guy dare to mock her, Qin Qing immediately put on a serious expression. You still have the nerve to laugh at me. You didn't even do the worksheet when Teacher Shan was explaining it. You can't space out with me. But before Qin Qing could finish speaking, Wen Yufeng stopped Qin Qing's mouth with the excuse that he couldn't understand what was being said anyway. Actually, it's no big deal. Don't I still have you, little teacher? Hearing this title, Qin Qing couldn't help frowning. She immediately retorted that she wasn't little. Not waiting for Wen Yufeng to continue teasing her with words, she continued. I will grow up very soon. Because of this sentence from a girl, Wen Yufeng didn't speak for a long time. The corners of his lips hooked up uncontrollably. His mind was full of the image of him holding Qin Qing yesterday. Before he fainted back then, he was just afraid that his state would scare Qin Qing. But now, looking at this cute girl in front of him, he perhaps already had the answer. She wasn't afraid of him. The usually carefree Wen Yufeng actually got jealous, just because he saw his little wife receive a love letter from another boy. Wen Yufeng overturned the vinegar jar on the spot. Without a second word, he issued a soul-searching interrogation to the boy delivering the letter. It was written inside. As soon as these words came out, it gave the delivery boy a fright. He hurriedly indicated that he didn't know either. Although their conversation was very quiet, it was still heard by Qin Qing on the side. Seeing this bad guy bullying a classmate again, she couldn't help but glare at him grumpily. Wen Yufeng, stop bullying classmates, okay? Qin Qing's voice was very soft. It immediately made Wen Yufeng turn his head away in embarrassment. But before Wen Yufeng could say anything more, the boy next to them hurriedly chimed in out of fear. No, student Qin Qing, it's my problem. All right, this is what Lin Wentao from class 7 asked me to pass to you. As he spoke, he placed the letter into Qin Qing's hands. Then, scared out of his wits, he ran off without looking back. Now Qin Qing didn't fuss about the earlier matter. She just curiously opened the letter. After unfolding it, she saw a small half-page of things written on the paper. And at the same time, Wen Yufeng behind her didn't focus on the letter. Instead, he firmly memorized the name Lin Wentao. According to what that person just said, Lin Wentao is in the neighboring class 7. Since he is a second-year student, he definitely didn't know Qin Qing before. That means his little wife met Lin Wentao during the few days he was away. Thinking of this, Wen Yufeng's face instantly turned black. And at this moment, Li Xiang, who had just returned to the classroom on the other side, bumped into Brother Yu's stranger's keep-away appearance. However, he didn't take it to heart. He still cheekily leaned in like usual. Brother Yu, what are you looking at? Watching someone pass notes? Hearing this, Li Xiang paused for a moment, then became agitated. Brother Yu, did student Qin Qing receive a threat letter so soon? Before Li Xiang could say anything else, Wen Yufeng looked at him coldly first. What do you mean? Seeing Brother Yu's reaction, Li Xiang realized he had guessed wrong, but his words were already spoken. Taking them back seemed impossible now, so he could only look guardedly at Qin Qing in front, and this subtle movement of Li Xiang naturally fell into Wen Yufeng's eyes. Wen Yufeng seemed to understand something. He immediately called Li Xiang out of the classroom. Speak, what's going on? Li Xiang was suffering in silence right now. He could only confess honestly. Brother Yu, you might not feel it yourself, but there are really a lot of girls in school who like you. Actually, back when the school rumored that the school beauty Ling was your girlfriend, someone sent her a threat letter. You are classmates with Qin Qing now, plus the military training incident before. So I thought someone sent the little student a threat letter. Hearing this, Wen Yufeng's eyes grew colder. He immediately asked Li Xiang if he knew who did it. Seeing that Li Xiang didn't know either, he could only suppress the anger in his heart. He told him to keep a close watch these few days. If anything happened, tell him immediately. And in the time that followed, Wen Yufeng stayed by Qin Shing's side constantly. Seeing that nothing happened all morning, his tense nerves finally relaxed. Because today was Tuesday, Qin Shing needed to clean the class's designated hygiene area in the afternoon. So she came to school early. But just as Qin Shing finished cleaning and was preparing to leave, she was stopped by 3 girls. Qin Shing couldn't be more familiar with these 3 girls. They were precisely the 3 girls who had blocked her in the classroom that day. Seeing them, Qin Shing's heart skipped a beat. She immediately frowned. Just as she was thinking about how to escape later, the leading girl spoke to her first. I heard people say before that they saw you cleaning here. I didn't expect it to be true. I see you guys are working hard cleaning. Do you want her help? Hearing this, Qin Shing paused. She just wanted to refuse when she saw the 3 girls throw out the bags they were holding. In an instant, the trash in the bags scattered all over the ground. Looking at the scattered trash on the ground, Qin Shing immediately questioned angrily, "How can you do this?" But waiting for Qin Shing to finish speaking, the 3 girls sneered nonchalantly. "Little student, I warned you long ago. You didn't listen. Since it's like this, I'm afraid you'll have to suffer a bit more. Even implicating your classmates. I feel a bit embarrassed for you." But before the lead girl could finish her sentence, her expression changed. She couldn't say a single word. The girls beside her were the same. Qin Shing looked at their strange behavior, unable to figure out for a moment. Just as she was wondering what was wrong with the 3 of them, Wen Yufeng's voice suddenly rang out from behind. "Why did you stop talking?" Hearing this voice, Qin Shing saw that the bad guy had come. Her tense nerves finally relaxed. Although everyone else's reaction to seeing Wen Yufeng was fear, she didn't know why, but seeing Wen Yufeng at first glance made her want to laugh. Because she felt Wen Yufeng's current appearance was like a tiger yawning in the bushes. But before Qin Shing could be happy for long, she saw this bad guy about to jump down from the stone platform. This action scared Qin Shing badly, so she hurriedly called out to him, "Wen Yufeng, do you want stitches again?" Although Qin Shing's voice was soft, the serious tone and that tense little expression allowed no rebuttal. Hearing this, Wen Yufeng's lips hooked up involuntarily. Then he stood up and walked down the stairs obediently. "Little teacher, is this okay?" Although Wen Yufeng's voice was very quiet, it still reached Qin Shing's ears. Qin Shing's face turned red instantly. She looked at the bad guy in front of her, not understanding why he leaned in so close. However, she didn't mind these things. She still asked the doubt in her heart, "Why did you come here?" Wen Yufeng heard Qin Shing's delicate voice and couldn't help tilting his brow and laughing softly. "Sweetie, didn't I hear you say that maintaining the class hygiene honor is everyone's responsibility? So I came here specifically to take a look." But before Wen Yufeng could finish speaking, he locked his gaze onto the 3 people preparing to slip away on the side. "Where are you guys planning to go?" As soon as these words came out, the 3 girls who originally wanted to take the chance to flee froze in place instantly. Seeing they were only a few steps from the stairs, they prepared to gamble. If they accelerated directly, maybe they could run out. At that time, Wen Yufeng wouldn't know which class they were from. Just as these 3 girls exchanged glances preparing to implement the strategy, Wen Yufeng, standing on the side, seemed to have mind-reading skills. He directly issued a warning to them. "My temper has never been good, so don't make me waste energy checking your personal files. If anyone wants to try now, I guarantee you definitely won't want to see the consequences." Once these words were out, those 3 girls immediately dispelled the thought of escaping. They stood in a row with pale faces. This novel scene dumbfounded Qin Shing, who was standing behind Wen Yufeng. She had previously thought about going to find Teacher Sun for help. But even if Teacher Sun came, it might not necessarily have the current effect. Sure enough, the wicked need the wicked to grind them. Qin Shing's mood was very complicated now. By the time she came back to her senses, she saw Wen Yufeng had already walked in front of those 3 girls. "I am actually curious. What exactly did you want to warn her about? Come, tell me first." As soon as this was said, those 3 girls could no longer suppress the fear in their hearts. They cried out in low voices directly, "Sorry, brother, we won't dare do it again. Just be the bigger person and let us go this time." It seemed the expressions of these 3 girls were too exaggerated, making Qin Shing on the side widen her eyes involuntarily. She didn't understand why everyone treated Wen Yufeng like a monster. But the Wen Yufeng she knew wasn't like this. He was clearly very gentle, not a monster. After Qin Shing froze in place for a few seconds, She finally couldn't suppress that special emotion in her heart anymore. She lifted her legs and walked towards Wen Yufeng. Wen Yufeng, enough. If they go back like this, in less than a day, the whole school will know about you scaring 3 girls to tears. Before Wen Yufeng could reply, Qin Xing squatted down and picked up the ID dropped by the lead girl. Song Yan, right? I've remembered your name. For the next 2 years of high school. It's fine if nothing happens to me, but if there is even a little trouble, the first person my parents and teachers will look for is you. When Qin Xing said these words, it made Wen Yufeng on the side couldn't help but be startled. When he realized the girl was imitating what he said before, a faint smile floated in the depths of Wen Yufeng's eyes. He gently rubbed Qin Xing's little head. Then Wen Yufeng's gaze returned to those 3 people. Today I will look at her face and not haggle with you. But if there's a single bit of trash left on the ground later, then starting tomorrow, you 3 better not appear in school. After Wen Yufeng finished saying this, he took Qin Xing's small hand beside him and led her back to the classroom. As soon as he entered the classroom, the room instantly quieted down. The first to react was the class hygiene commissioner. Seeing Brother Yu holding a broom, he felt like dying right then. He remembered clearly not assigning duty to Brother Yu. Which villain wanted to harm him? Before the hygiene commissioner could say anything, Wen Yufeng came to his desk first and told him that starting next week, assign him to Qin Xing's hygiene group. The hygiene commissioner seemed to hear the faint smile in Wen Yufeng's tone. After being dazed for a moment, he asked instinctively, Brother Yu, why do you suddenly want to do duty? After asking, the hygiene commissioner immediately regretted it. Did he eat a bear's heart and leopard's gall? Daring to question Brother Yu. Fortunately, Wen Yufeng was in a very good mood now. Regarding this question, he just hooked his lips slightly. Then he said the sentence Qin Xing said in class. Maintaining class hygiene honor is everyone's responsibility. As soon as these words came out, the classroom instantly fell into silence. No one dared to believe these words came out of Brother Yu's mouth. However, Wen Yufeng didn't care about this. He went directly back to his seat. And in the time that followed, Wen Yufeng accompanied Qin Xing in class. But after he came back from using the restroom after class, Qin Xing was nowhere to be seen. Seeing a note on her desk, he had a vague premonition of something bad. He had seen this note before. Wasn't it the one Lin Wintao sent someone to give to his little wifey last time? At the thought of this, Wen Yufeng's face darkened, and he stared at the doorway with hostility. This startled a classmate who had just walked in, causing him to hurriedly find a seat and sit down. He was afraid of provoking this menacing figure. After waiting for 3 minutes with no result, his gaze ultimately fell on the note. I'll just take one look. He told himself this. But after looking at it for 2.5 seconds, Wen Yufeng's face grew even darker. What is all this? He couldn't understand it at all. On the other side, Qin Xing was standing at the door of Class 7, Grade 11, handing over a note, but the boy in front of her kept shaking his head. Classmate, it's not that I won't help you deliver it. It's just that Lin Wintao specifically instructed the class today that if anyone comes to give him a note, they have to wait for him to come get it himself. Qin Xing looked puzzled, not understanding what this was about. The next second, Lin Wintao arrived. He first nodded to his good friend, then turned his gaze to Qin Xing. Student Qin, did you finish the problem I just gave you so quickly? Qin Xing nodded obediently and handed over the exercise sheet. I was bored during the last study hall, so I tried to solve this problem. Lin Wintao took the exercise sheet with a smile, admiring the delicate handwriting on it, while asking how the problem he set was. Qin Xing didn't rush to answer, but after thinking for a moment, she pointed out the difficult points in the question. Seeing that Qin Xing got everything right, Lin Wintao couldn't help but praise her clear problem-solving logic. By the way, student Lin, did you need something from me? Just now, that classmate said I had to give the note to you in person. Lin Wintao smiled awkwardly, saying there was indeed something. It's about that problem I gave you last time. Our approaches to solving it are different, so I wanted to discuss it with you. Hearing that there was a different approach, Qin Xing immediately became interested, tilting her small head up to indicate that was fine. Seeing the girl agree, the smile on Lin Wintao's face deepened. Then, student Qin, do you have time next period? We can go to the study room together to discuss it. Qin Xing instinctively wanted to nod, but just as she moved, she suddenly remembered what that bad egg had said. I only allow you to tutor me. Thinking of Wen Yufeng's stubborn temper, Qin Xing could only sigh helplessly. Although this probably didn't count as tutoring, for some reason, she still felt guilty. Just as Qin Xing was struggling with what excuse to use to refuse Lin Wintao, a cold voice suddenly sounded behind her. Sorry, this is my exclusive teacher. Not for long. Although the boy's tone was casual, his eyes were unusually cold. Facing Wen Yufeng's provocation, Lin Wentao wasn't afraid and sneered back in retort. Student Qin Qing has already agreed. At these words, Qin Qing frowned hesitantly. She hadn't even spoken just now. How did that count as agreeing? As she was thinking this, she suddenly felt a chill down her back. Turning around, she met Wen Yufeng's icy gaze. Don't casually explain problems to strangers in the future, okay? Qin Qing felt helpless, thinking to herself that it wasn't impossible. Seeing his little wifey hesitate, Wen Yufeng used his trump card, leaning down close to her. Then I'm begging you, okay? Qin Qing's eyes widened in bewilderment. She couldn't quite believe these were words Wen Yufeng could say. Besides, this was too foul play. Even though she knew this bad egg was doing it on purpose, her face still couldn't stop burning up. Wen Yufeng continued to press his advantage. If you don't speak, I'll take it as a yes. Qin Qing just wanted to hammer this bad egg to death right now. And their intimate behavior was all seen by Lin Wentao. He clenched his fists, staring at Wen Yufeng with an unfriendly gaze. Student Wen, you'd better stop making things difficult for Qin Qing. It's just a problem. I'll write down my solution steps for you another day. Qin Qing nodded hesitantly. Sorry, Student Lin. It's okay. I'll seriously study the problem you set too. After speaking, he didn't forget to shoot a glare at Wen Yufeng. Wen Yufeng had never taken such crap before. He called out to him directly and told the little wifey beside him to go back first. Qin Qing instinctively rejected this suggestion. She knew this bad egg definitely had no good intentions. But before she could speak, she was interrupted by Wen Yufeng's laughter. Tian, don't overthink it. It's just that it's time for my medicine, and I remembered I don't have water. I wanted you to go back first and pour me a cup. Qin Qing looked at him suspiciously. Seeing no loopholes, she decided to trust him this once. Before leaving, she didn't forget to warn Wen Yufeng. You can't bully classmates. If your wound opens up again, I'll move back to sit next to Feng Xiaojing. Wen Yufeng held his forehead helplessly, his eyes full of amusement, thinking that this little wifey had learned to threaten him. Watching Qin Qing leave, Wen Yufeng's expression instantly returned to its usual coldness. Let's talk. But Lin Wentao didn't want to waste words with him because of what happened earlier. Throwing out a what is there to talk about, he prepared to leave. Since you think there's nothing to talk about, then remember to stay away from her in the future. With that, Wen Yufeng also prepared to leave. But who would have thought Lin Wentao's laughter would sound behind him again? Me stay away from her? Shouldn't I be the one saying that to you? I really can't understand why a girl with such a good character like Qin Qing would get mixed up with someone like you. What can you give her? Besides dragging down her grades, what can you bring? Regarding these words from Lin Wentao, Wen Yufeng didn't get angry, only his eyes grew colder. Our business isn't for you to judge. Perhaps Wen Yufeng's response seemed too weak, making Lin Wentao even more arrogant. This isn't a judgment, it's advice. You can't give her anything but trouble. It will be better to leave early, like before. Before he could finish speaking, Wen Yufeng grabbed him by the collar and slammed him against the wall. You're not qualified to lecture me. Meanwhile, Qin Qing, who had just walked to the classroom door, saw a junior high school girl staring at her. Just as Qin Qing was wondering what was going on, the girl bowed directly to her, shouting, "Senior, please help me. Pass this letter to Senior Wen Yufeng." Before Qin Qing could react, the girl stuffed the envelope into her hand and ran downstairs. This left Qin Qing standing there, stunned, not understanding what was happening. But when she saw the small characters on the envelope clearly, she discovered it was a love letter.